All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are recording here at Charlie's Tavern in the heart of beautiful downtown Grayslake, Illinois. Back to our home base. My name is Evan Rafferty. Sitting here with me, as always, is Jay Clancy and my other good friend, Patrick Whistler. And boys and girls, this is the 1,
2, 3,
4 Shots podcast. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Michael Pruitt. Right, Pruitt?
Yep,
Say it
yep.
right?
You said it right.
Owner, operator of The Vine in downtown Grayslake. Entrepreneur, philanthropist, man of many titles over here.
Yeah, family man.
Family man.
That one.
Yeah. Thanks for being here with us today, man. I know we were trying to make this happen for a little while, and you got a whole lot going on, and we're going to get into that. But today we are shooting Jeppson's Malort, Chicago's very own, and I can't believe it took us this long to have someone order this, but here we go. Shot number 1.
Cheers. Sorry about it, guys.
Nah, that's fine.
It's not that bad.
Yeah. If you know what you're getting into, like my first shot of Malort was traumatic. I won a bar bet, and the guy was like, "Oh, gotta buy you a shot." The bar bet, I can't remember what it was, but it was designed so that I would win because I was like 21 or 22. He wanted me to do a shot of Malort. I'd never tried it before, and I'm 22 years old. I'm like, I've done Jack Daniels. I can handle it. And I drink this, and I'm like, oh, that's a different kind of linger than most liquor has.
Dude, it lingers.
Yeah.
Like I'm struggle busting right now. It's
Yeah.
like in my throat and my lungs right now.
So the trick, you want to know the trick? And you can do it for the next one. We'll experiment with you. You'll be a little test monkey. Is a slice of orange afterwards.
Slice of orange.
A little
Did
orange
you
juice.
almost just throw up?
If I actually take 4 shots that big of this, I will 100% throw up
Oh,
as
it's gonna be the
sure
greatest
You're the
episode
first.
ever. I'm
as
so
sure as
excited.
if I took Ipecac to induce
Yeah.
vomiting. Like
Ipecac? What's that?
it's what you give kids when you need to make them
Yeah.
throw up.
Like to pump their stomach or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a similar
It's an
story
acronym.
with Malort, like you did, Jay. Is like we used to do as that shot. You'd screw with somebody when they turned 21. And
Yeah.
Then,
I mean, that's what it is now, right?
Yeah, came to late night bowling at Lakes Bowling, a Tuesday night man's league, and I had a ring of sucking for like a couple weeks in a row where you get stuck, and you get stuck. You had to buy everybody a round of shots that has their hand up. So here I am, I got stuck. All right, let's do this, guys. So I round up a bunch of shots. Just 40 people doing a shot of Malort, and nobody ever rose their hand again.
That's great.
So
Ugh.
it works.
It like doesn't go away.
No.
You guys ever seen
I just had to drink half this fucking can of beer.
You guys ever seen the commercial the kid put out? I don't know if he's really the guy's grandson or whatever.
That's what I heard, but I like.
It's one of the funniest things
I
I've
thought
ever
it was a
seen.
random bartender when I saw it.
No, like
He does like 20 of them. He just keeps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to do the taste like Malort. Tastes like being picked on in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
But and then by the end he's just got his wife beater on and puke all down his
Biting a tire.
Yeah. I don't know if that kid's really the owner or whatever, but I know that's like an actual Malort thing. They put that out, so
That's cool.
cheers to them for having a fucking sense of humor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Got to embrace the novelty of it a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like it's fun. It's a shot. It's not gonna taste like candy.
and it does look like JMO in a glass, so it's a good way to fuck with people as well.
Yeah.
I had a
That's so mean.
I had a regular
Play some roulette.
about a year ago that was like coming in. His kids just came back from college. They had just turned 21, and he's a big Irish dude. And he's like, I want to like fuck with them. Like I'm like, all right, well, like, what do you want to give him, Malort? And he's like, yeah. He's like, but I don't want to do one. I'm like, don't worry, it looks just like Jameson. So me and him get Jamesons. I bring him over to the table, 2 Malorts for the kids. They're like, what are we drinking? I'm like, oh, it's JMO, man. Fucking do it. Kids are fucking like, that's not Jameson, screaming and everything, complaining.
Yeah.
Guy got him 2 more times that night with the same thing. He's like, I
Damn.
swear to God, it's not Malort this time.
After the first one, it's on them.
Yeah.
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 They must have burned their noses out doing something because you should
Yeah.
be able to smell that difference.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But all right, well, let's get into it, Mike. Again, thank you very much for coming in here. Let's go ahead, tell the people who you are, what you do, and then let's get into like your history of the business here.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm an open book to the most part. So I moved here in 97, 96. I was 14.
Where are you originally from?
St. Petersburg, Florida. So don't even ask why.
Oh,
I
you're
went
Florida
north.
boy.
I know. Little Tampa boy. But my dad's business made us move north. And,
Okay.
it got to a point where we were only seeing him like once a weekend.
Yeah.
He was traveling so much, so we just uprooted and went north. And I don't know. I fell in love with this town. I started working at Last Chance Saloon, which I know has been on a couple of your guys'
Yeah.
episodes. And I didn't mean to get into the bar business. I just had a bet with my brother who can get a job first.
How old were you when you ended up starting there?
14.
You were
Yeah.
so right when you moved here.
Yeah.
And what were you doing? Like bussing, washing
Busting
dishes?
tables.
Yeah.
Probably like felt like I was the only kid there running around. I mean, back then,
Yeah.
97, it was four or five deep around the bar.
Yeah.
The only game in town.
It was like more like it was kind of that towny dive bar, but they also had a kitchen type style.
Yeah,
right?
I felt
Is
it
what
was,
I feel like Ralph kind of
yeah,
described
at
it
night
as.
it was more, but it kind of turned into that later on. But then it was definitely a full-time restaurant.
Yeah.
It filled. Fish fries, all you can eat chicken, burgers, everything.
Oh, nice.
It would fill up. There's things they did right and things they didn't do right, but it got me where I was at, made me fall in love with the business.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
How long did you end up working there for? Were you there all throughout high school and everything?
2 weeks until we opened the bar. Until I opened the Vine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you started off as a busboy, and then you just work your way up like in that place? Like
Yeah, so I did I bussed, worked in the kitchen a little bit, filled in when we could, started bartending at a young age, serving, helped manage morning shifts.
how old were you when you started like serving there?
16, 17.
16 or 17?
17 probably.
And then like were you working in the kitchen at that point as well, or?
Just filling in, helping prep
Yeah.
occasionally. I saw more value in dollar being on the floor. So I
Sure.
knew those shifts
That's
was
right.
good.
True. I mean, that's how I ended up out there.
Yeah.
And then you start bartending at like what, 21 on the dot, or
I was before 21.
the good old days?
Yeah. And but I loved it. And it got to the point where I like.
Speaking of, I'm sorry.
I'm better.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off right there. I was just gonna say, going off the bartending, before you're 21. You see that thing in Wisconsin that they might pass?
16.
Yeah,
Or no, 14.
I think it's 14.
Because
Because
said 16 because West Virginia I think is 16.
yeah,
which-
That's
they
insane.
have such a labor shortage up there that they're gonna let like 14-year-olds bartend.
yeah. I mean Illinois. A lot of people know it was 18.
Well, that'll solve a labor
if you got somebody
shortage.
that's 21 there, but
Yeah.
yeah, 14. That's a little crazy. I don't need my son, or actually younger than my son, serving me a cocktail.
Yeah.
Right.
Or listening to my stories.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean,
What's that one taste like? I don't know. I just pour them.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might end up with like a Bobby Fischer of cocktails.
Yeah.
Kids never even tasted a drop, but he's just good with mixing flavors.
Yeah.
Right.
But okay, so yeah, sorry to cut you off on that little
Oh, you're
tangent
good,
there. So you bartending like how old were you?
Like I said, it was probably just turning 21, 20. And then I was starting to do night schooling.
Yeah.
So it was nice because I'd work morning shifts and make just as much as a morning doing that breakfast there because you got the Bloody Marys, you got people coming to drink, watch sports,
Yeah.
especially football season.
Yeah.
And I would do my night classes till like 2 in the morning. So I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Bartending there was easy shot and beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What kind of schooling were you going to?
I was Kindle College. So I did a lot
Okay,
of stuff.
so you were in culinary at the time.
Well, actually, I was doing a hospitality program
The-
right when they first
their
started.
their 4-year or whatever.
Yeah, we were the monkey suits. It was
Yeah.
the first year they were doing it, and we had you remember Will Smith when he was doing the private school with the blue blazer? That's what we had, the blue blazer with
Yeah.
the giant white
Yeah.
Kindle logo.
Nice.
So I was doing that, and I did a lot of online stuff to get all my GED stuff on and everything, all my general
Yeah,
education.
because you get like a 4-year degree. You get a bachelor's degree with that program.
You can now. When I was there, it was only like a 2-year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was like the restaurant management, hospitality side of it.
Yeah, and I did all my culinary stuff I did at CLC campus. Because they have a beautiful culinary program.
So obviously, like, you're 20, 21, working in a restaurant and going to school for it.
Mhm.
Like, how old do you think you were when you realized like the book? I mean, you're obviously a lifer. You now own a place. Like,
I was so in college. Right when college started in high school, I was doing graphic design and digital design. I
Yeah.
wanted to do web design and get into that program. And I was like, I don't want to sit at a computer my whole life, but I feel like I do it more now. We do everything in house, which
Right.
saves me a lot of money. If I
Yeah.
need something done, I do it right away. Opposed to having to hire somebody to do it.
Yeah. That's true.
So I'm blessed for having that. I'm switching my degree and switching what I want to do. But I've always liked the business. When I lived in Tampa, our friends, the Loaders, owned Krabby Bill's. They're everywhere down there, and I loved seeing how they lived and what they did, and going by the restaurants and seeing like how everybody was. It's like a giant family. I fell in love with it, and then actually working in the industry at Last Chance, I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
It's hard to get out once you're in.
Yeah.
it is. It's a bug. It'll get you. Okay, so you're going to kind of let the time. You end up. You graduate from that program, or
Yeah.
okay, finish off. So you're probably like 22 or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you still stay at Last Chance, or like when did you open up the Vine?
So I got approached by Mike Desco, who was a local resident. Sometimes his name's good or bad. He approached me to manage the place. I was bartending at Last Chance one night. I think it was like a Thursday night. Hey, we're looking for a manager down the street. Like, well, let me see what you guys have. So I met his partners and looked at it, and they didn't have anything yet. So I came in and said, I'll design it all for a portion. So that was my buy-in.
You got the sweat equity out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
I should have went higher. I only went at 5%.
Yeah, right.
I was nervous. I was still just a kid.
You went in at 5 with the sweat equity. Were you getting pulling a salary at the same time too?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I was making a salary.
That's
so
not terrible. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. But it would have been a lot easier. So because after we opened, I ended up buying them all out. So
yeah, and I mean I think that's a good advice for anybody right now listening too. Like know your worth, know your value. You know, not everybody can do what we do. Like it's tough.
It's true. No, and it's just there's so many people that don't understand how good they are at what they do too.
Right.
I see it all the time, and I'm just like, oh man, this person's amazing. It takes the right time and somebody to believe in you to just pop out of your shell. It doesn't matter what it is either.
Yeah, we've talked about that before too. Like just got to be at the right place at the right time. Like, just to make it happen. What's that old thing? Success is a crossroads of opportunity and preparation, or whatever.
Yeah.
But, okay, so how old are you when they come at you like with this?
So I was just 21.
So you're pretty young on it.
20 actually. Because I just proposed to my wife. We got married at 21, and then we started building it right after we got right at 21, and then I mentioned in Dave Bull's podcast that I had my 2-week notice in my pocket. At the time,
Right.
Yeah.
Because I needed bar. I just got married.
Right.
On our own, I had to pay bills.
Yeah, sure.
And then I got pulled in the office by Gary Jr., senior's son, and he's like, "Hey, we want to talk to you for a second." Oh, what's up? He goes, "We're going to be a bartender down there," and I was just like, I'm like, "You're going to want to shut your door for this."
Yeah,
so
right.
I kind of just told him. He took it hard, but senior gave me a supportive. But
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, both reactions are very normal. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Was that like a rift between you and Junior for a while, or did you guys get over it?
I mean, I never had any hardship feelings against him. I mean, I had to go there for lunch, and there was a sign on the wall that said I wasn't allowed in, which my name was spelled wrong. So, of course, being a smart ass,
You worked there 7 years, and they spelled your name wrong.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not. I go, that's not me. To the bartender, she's like, no, I'm like, I know. So,
have you ever been banned from a place?
I don't think so. I got kicked out of a bowling alley in it's like Lincolnshire, I think, one of those fancy bowling alleys. I might have told this story already. A keg popped, and the guy puts the rest of the beer kind of on the bar, and so I thought that meant drink it, and it did not. and he comes back, and he's like, "Sorry, I tapped that." I was like, "Oh, somebody drank that." He's like, "Yeah, I'd like to know who that was." I thought we were joking. I was like, "Yeah, my bad." And he's like, "Oh, get the fuck out." And I was like, all right, man.
But that was like your beer that you ordered?
Yeah, but it was like the end of the keg.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe he was having a rough night and he wanted it. I don't know. But it was before I was in the industry or anything, so I was like, I don't know. But yeah, I got kicked out.
That's what I do to people. Like if I fill half a beer in the kegs, I'm like, here, drink this. I'll be back in a second.
To be fair, it wasn't my first beer of the day, and on my way out, I tripped in the parking lot and fell and totally proved his point. So maybe it was more than just the beer.
Yeah, most bartenders would just give you a freebie that's half foam.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Like,
it was.
throw it out anyway.
I know it's a very old school thing, but like when you spider the bottle or whatever, like if you get that last shot, you're supposed to get it for free. I mean, nowadays I'm like, I got another one right here. I'll just top you off, dude.
The first time I ever had a spider was here at Charlie's.
Yeah, still do them.
Do you? Last shot?
If it's somebody there are people who look for them.
Yeah.
And look at the bottles, and there's 2 of everything, right? So I'll see that, and I'll go grab the other one, and then they're like, "Oh, you don't have any money?"
That half an apple cherry bottle looks like it's about to be
a shot of gin. You don't drink gin.
Yeah, right. Seriously, the one guy ordered J Bavet. He didn't know what J Bavet was, but he saw that it was almost empty.
I don't know what that is.
Brandy.
Oh, okay.
But it's such a shitty thing to do, especially if it's somewhere you hang out. Come on, man.
Give me the last shot of that Johnny Blue up there.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, no spiders on that.
Yeah.
All right, so you're like 21.
Yeah.
You get this opportunity. You go in there. What's your role? Are you running everything?
So I was managerial partner, so I had a stake in the business, but it was day to day, just managing everything from the beverage portfolio to operations, even the bills. I don't know how I got stuck in that portion of it, but I'm kind of glad I was because it taught me a lot.
Sure.
But it was a lot of learning, a
So,
lot of
like-
stuff I knew from the industry, but then the whole like process of creating the menu, creating I mean, because at first we weren't going to be martinis, it was just going to be wine and beer.
Oh,
And
okay.
back then, craft beer wasn't even a thing.
Yeah. What year is this?
This is 2006.
2006.
Okay.
Yeah. So like right when the craft beer kind of bubbles
So
coming.
the bubbles
Yeah.
starting to just like turn the heater on to start bubbling up the pot.
Yeah, right.
I mean, because that was right when Fat Tire was coming over, Dogfish,
Yeah.
Lakes, things that I mean, Chicago really have craft beer scene.
I mean, it was back then.
That's
it was
when I
Three
started.
Floyds.
I was down at U of I, and they had a liquor store called Friar Tuck that was like Benny's sized, but
a great
they
name.
actually
That is a great
sold.
name.
They actually sold all the homebrew supplies there.
That's
So I'd
awesome.
go in, stock up on homebrew supplies, and then I'd buy like, I'd always get a new 6-pack I'd never tried, and then I'd buy an Avery bomber that was either Salvation or the Reverend.
Yeah, Reverend's really good.
Dude, and
Avery's
obviously
awesome beer.
6 IPAs in a Reverend will set you up for the evening pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
2006 was like the year when people started coming in going, "Can I get one of those IPAs?"
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
God.
like an IPA? Okay. But
But yeah, so here I was just learning from the ropes. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. It was one of those things. It's like I went to my parents to be partners in it, and they told me right away it's too risky. We're not investing in that.
it's very
Like,
risky.
you're
I can
gonna-
tell
if
you that.
fail, you can move back home. So
Yeah.
thank God.
Right.
I had partners that believed in me. My wife was a huge supporter. She still
Cool.
is.
Yeah.
So
I mean, did you like? So I went through that where I did have to move back home. Did you ever get like those panic attacks? Just like
every
like
day.
how was
I
your
mean, shoot,
sleep?
during there, didn't really. I mean, to be honest, my biggest nightmare was waking up and thinking I still had homework due. I'm like, you had that like nightmare of like
Right.
I thought I was still in college. So it was
Yeah.
a mixture of that. But no, I mean there were times there was times when our bank account was at zero.
Yeah.
I mean we opened owing contractors and stuff money. I mean we were set up for failure. And that's the biggest thing in the restaurant industry. People open and you always have that number of the 26 to 30% of them don't make it because of undercapitalization, but it's true.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got to have that first year like
Yeah.
just bankrolled.
and we should have. But there's times when things pop up. Even now, during our last huge build out, it was projected at 400,000. We spent almost $1 million. It just- things happen.
Right.
Things happen that you don't know are.
I was gonna
happen.
say I usually tell people like expect it to be double.
Yeah,
like
it
2.5.
was.
That's big. Yeah,
And expect it to take longer too. I mean, you see
Oh,
that with
always,
restaurants all the
yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
always.
you know, it's good to be optimistic, but yeah,
And the
be
biggest,
prepared for that.
well,
you know,
and the biggest battle a lot of people don't anticipate on. It's even gravitated more now. And you guys probably saw it this weekend being closed just for 2 days. Is
Mhm.
not only are you trying to build this thing, you're trying to stay level headed, you're trying to plan things out, you're trying to do things, but then you have the whole pressure of everybody around you looking
Mhm.
in. As a glass window of social media, so you got all these people
Yeah.
looking in, making comments like, "Oh,
Yeah.
what's going on?"
there were people
Oh, yeah.
demanding. They were like, "I think you're
Yes.
obligated to tell us at this point why you guys are closed for 3 days."
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
and we were like, "Well, we're not, but we will." You know what I mean? Because I mean,
Well, at that point,
I've never
people
seen
wanna
that
know
person,
if it's a health code
Yeah.
violation,
And I get
which
that.
I get.
and you
I mean,
you
is
would
it?
know.
I don't know. The
But it's
El
hard.
Famous
That, like-
burrito, the
Yeah.
El Famous burrito in the West Loop closed by me, and they gave us some bullshit about their water heater being broken. But I think they had a major health code
Yeah.
violation.
But that is a health code violation because you don't have hot water
It
to wash
is, yeah.
dishes.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
But so yeah, you have that and that stress. A lot of people don't realize that's the stress that really gets to people. in our industry.
Oh yeah, people are looking
And it
at
was
every
hard
move.
for us this last build out because we're open at the time and people coming in with patio was going to be done
Every
You-
single day.
and every
Yeah.
and my staff. I felt bad for my staff. They were, I mean, talk about like hard as a rock. These guys were motivated and they're like, no, it's coming. And you
Yeah.
got the people too. They're like, you really think you're going to hit that date? And it's just like, and it's like, just let us finish.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah,
worth it.
this conversation isn't helping that happen.
No.
For the record, you know,
And that's
like
the stuff that really gets you. It starts to eat at
people
you.
just
So everything
pick
else,
and
like,
pick and pick. You know,
when you're on site, you're living the business and you're running it and stuff. That really doesn't get you. You're in your prime. I mean, you guys all been there during the rush. You kind of
Oh,
make
yeah.
it work out. It's organized chaos. Even
Yeah.
in the worst ran places, you figure out a way to get through it.
Yeah.
But it's the whole like getting there. That's the part.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you're doing a build out or whatever, like, and you kind of have like a set amount in your head, and then all of a sudden you're seeing money going out, and you're like, when is it gonna start coming back? Like, so it's definitely just a amount of pressure that a lot of people. I mean, if you go into any industry and start your own business, like you'll understand that. But
yeah. I mean, one of the best text messages I've gotten from my dad the last month was right after we opened the patio. And it was, hopefully now you don't have to keep spending money. I know, right?
Right.
I felt like the last month going into opening this, I told my wife, "Is it even going to be worth it? If people are going to come. I mean, it's now summer. People are going to go to Fox Lake. They're going to the river. They're going to travel.
Right.
Thank God people knock on wood have been coming and they're enjoying it. But
it's an awesome space, man.
You're seeing all this stuff, this cash flow go out. I mean, my Amazon, my webstaurant.com, everything going out. And it's just like tracking all these packages coming in, bartenders and managers coming in saying, hey, we need this. What about this? And then you're just adding stuff on.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Well, just even like what you're saying is one of the things that was like the hardest for me was like when you start doubting, like, am I an idiot for doing this? Was this a dumb idea? Like, you're like, is this going to even work? And you start doubting yourself. That's rough. Cause then that can just lead to like, a whirlwind of psychological problems.
Thank God in my head, I still have that one devil on my shoulder that just says, ignore that because it's going to be worth it. Just keep doing it. So you always have that as an entrepreneur. You always have that push over the doubt.
Right.
Huge.
Right.
Yeah.
So you opened up, you said 2006, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you said you were one of 5 owners or?
One of 5. I had 4 partners.
And then you just, it got, like, how long did it take for you guys to start seeing money come in when you opened? Like,
I mean, we had money coming in. Our projected value and what we actually brought in, what we projected on our business plan was way lower than we.
Oh, nice.
By like 1/6. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. So the community supported it when we were building. There's a lot of people that didn't support it. They kept saying it was a city idea that wouldn't work in a small town. And things like that.
Too fancy for Grayslake.
Saying that the Mirror was a partner. There's rumors going around that we took the liquor license from the hardware store, which we had our liquor license way before the hardware store.
The bar was called the hardware store.
All right, I was like, fucking Ace Hardware.
Yeah,
fucking,
no, one
like,
of the best names ever though.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to the hardware store. Right?
Right.
But,
there's a strip club out in Colorado called the Library.
Yeah.
So when kids, spend their credit card, and Daddy sees the bill, they're like, "Oh, you're at the library."
Yeah,
it's an expensive librry.
Yeah,
thought they were supposed to be free.
Well, I was buying my books.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it was there was a lot of that, but yeah, I had 4 partners. They were a big influence, but I think it was probably like once I had my first son is when I realized I needed.
Yeah. And did you end up buying them out like one at a time, or did you
all at once?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to get to like that point?
To the actual
like buying them out. Like, so you opened in like 06.
It was probably 2012.
12?
6 years.
Okay. And then, like, was it just one step, like, here you go, take off, or was it over a couple years?
Well, no, it was cool. They which to this day I thank them for it. We gave them a lump sum, but then they let me do a buyer finance by seller.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, lower interest rate, kept it, but we paid it off quick. And even when I got the loan to pay out the business, I was aggressive with it. I've always been aggressive on that part because it's like I don't want this whole in my head.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Right. Very cool. So you find yourself, you're 26 years old, something like that, right?
Yeah.
26, 27. And now you got this whole restaurant to yourself. Any nervousness or like were you confident in what you were doing?
Not really. Because at the time too, my dad was a partner in it.
Okay.
We both owned half and half. He was still silent, so it was still just me. But I wasn't really that nervous, even the now where it's just being by myself now. Because it's kind of like one of those things like, yeah, you're always nervous. You're always like, okay.
It's good to be.
Yeah,
right?
It means you care.
Yeah.
And that's why I told my staff, when we opened that patio this year, I'm like, they were nervous. I was scared shitless.
Right.
And they were too. And I'm like, that means you guys actually care about what you do. So people that don't care, that aren't nervous, then that's where it's like you start to lose the value of why you open it.
Right. And people get jaded, and that's the worst thing that can happen.
And it's not, like we said, it's not a hobby. This is my livelihood.
Right.
This is my staff's livelihood.
Right.
So.
Well, and especially now, like, you gotta feel even a little bit more pressure. Like you said, you got a family going and everything like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, and that's where. So when we first,
I looked at my phone.
when I
While you're
first took it
pouring
over, it wasn't as scary, but it was a little bit more comfortable because I knew the decisions I had were just solely with myself.
right.
So it was a lot easier.
How
just
old
to
were
be
you
able-
when you had your first child?
I was, 20. Oh wait, he's actually. I'll go backwards. That it's easier. He's 15 now, so 25.
So you were 25. So like right before you took it over.
Yeah.
And you said like even before that, like you were getting married right when you guys opened it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, did it feel like when you had your son, was that kind of like your motivation to be like, I'm going to do this?
'Cause I got pulled aside and they said, "We heard you're gonna have a baby." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's a lot of pressure," and they offered to buy me out.
Oh, really?
So it's a lot of pressure to be able to run a restaurant with a kid.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. I'm like, "No, I'm behind this." I'm like, I even said, I'm like, my wife can come in and tell you that my wife's amazing.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this, don't frown on me, but I've probably only changed my kid's diaper twice as a baby because I was working. I was building our future, and she's always been in daycare, and she's an amazing mom. And she worked from home. She left her job and just kind of watched a kid that was our daycare. And she took another kid with her. Actually, two other kids. She would watch our friends' kids. Matt Joe was one of them, who's a Grayslaker and works at the high school now. He worked for us, but it helped us get through a lot. Helped us get where we are. But if I didn't have her at home, taking the sacrifice of being a at-home mom and let me focus on the restaurant, we probably would fail.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about that a lot too. We'll get into this in just a minute, but like to make like the relationship work in here, I forgot we can even go into this a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like that's a good time to end this first segment of this episode. Mike, thank you very much again for coming on with us. And segment 1, time for shot number 2.
Shot number 2.
This is when I wish we had cameras because I want to see if this guy actually throws up.
I meant to pour a baby shot, but my phone dinged and I looked at it and I looked back and I have a fucking brimmer again. God damn it.
Coke chaser.
Try that orange slice, man. You'll be in heaven.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if Coke's the move.
We also don't have oranges here.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
Yeah.
Shot a triple sec. Anything that might cut that stitches up.
Hilarious to me that
Yeah, where do you think we are?
a bar.
Orange slices.
They decided buying oranges was excessive at one point because people weren't ordering old fashions anymore.
And blue
And I was
moon
like,
kinda
you
died
also
away.
don't have simple syrup or usually the right bitters. So we're like, those are. Whatever.
Really?
We have Peychaud's bitters right now.
Yeah, that's for Sazeracs.
Yeah.
Sweeter.
If you buy the half-liter size bitters, I'm pretty sure it would last at a bar like this for like fucking
Ever.
9
A half
months.
liter?
Yeah,
The big-
there's a
the
big
big
one.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Yeah, I know.
huge.
That would last me forever. Geez.
Yeah, totally. I have one at home. I think I've been using it for fucking 10 years. Like,
All right, I'm gonna go burn one.
I saw Rainn Wilson, the actor who plays
Dwight?
Dwight on The Office,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
Lantern on Wednesday.
How was he?
Well, he came in and a bunch of college kids ran up to him and tried like shaking his hand and were like basically mobbing him immediately, and he walked right out. And we saw on social media it was at the Baha'i Temple in Wilmette, so I was like, well, that's as good as confirmed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the chance he's definitely in town a few miles down the road and his doppelganger is, no, it was him.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. I saw him for like 10
That's gotta
seconds.
suck too, because it's not like you're in some fucking club in Vegas, but like you're going to a
Yeah.
small town bar.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
summer. There's like so few college kids that stay at like Forest
Yeah.
College in the summer, but most of them come to karaoke.
But then there's
so
the kids that come
that's
home
what
from
was
the summer
up.
from their school.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
so
but
that's
Lake Forest kids summer in the Hamptons. Let's just be
Yeah,
honest.
or unless it's Lollapalooza. Then
Yeah.
they're going down,
Yeah,
Metro
that's
drinking
true.
water bottles of vodka.
yeah.
Remember that kid who buried the bottle of vodka in the park?
Mm-hmm.
I heard that's a thing. That
Yeah.
kids
That's
A lot of
do.
people do
well,
that.
like the first kid did it like
Geocaching?
4
Yeah.
years ago or something like that. It was the smartest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Like that kid's a fucking genius.
Right.
Like to go in like 2 weeks earlier, dig a hole, throw a bottle of vodka in there, cover it up,
Right.
go back at during the festival.
Like
and
to
be
put in that much effort just to have a buzz when you see Cage the elephant, you know?
ladies and gentlemen, Imagine Dragons.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's a Cumtown reference in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
I've never
Sometimes
been to
great.
Lollapalooza, blah, blah.
No,
but
it's fun. It's a lot of people watching, man. A lot of people.
I like that.
I used to go back when like it first started as a festival, like because it always kind of fell on my birthday. So like like 04, 5, 6. I saw Rage there, dude. I fucking had to sneak in that year
Yeah.
because this was probably like 06, and it had never sold out. Like the festival had never sold out the first 2 years, and this was the third year, and it was Rage, and no, not Tool, fucking
Not Jane's Addiction.
who made OK Computer? Radiohead. So it was like, and this is Radiohead's prime. So I literally showed up to go see Rage, like could buy a ticket every time, like right there. So I walk up, like, let me get a ticket. And they're like, we've been sold out for a month. I'm like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, I'm not missing Rage. So I end up having to walk around the whole fucking like thing. Finally find this like 16-year-old girl who's watching like a corner like fence, like a 15-foot fence. And I'm like, hey, I'll throw you like $50 if you let me jump this fence and don't say shit. She's like 100. I'm like, okay, cool.
Fuck yeah,
So I
dude.
take
I made several $1,000s.
So I
that day.
take
Holy shit.
So I take a lot of singles and put it in a 20, and like,
Oh my god.
and I throw it one way, and dude, this is like a 15-foot fence, and so I throw it one way. She goes running, grabbing it all. I jump the fence, get over. She's still sitting there picking up the singles, like, hey, and I start yelling at me, like, hey, these are all like ones. And I look up, and there's
Count again.
There's 2 cops on bikes, like sitting right there.
This should be in the podcast.
Yeah.
So I just take off,
is.
dude. I take off running.
Yeah, kind of.
Take off running. Cops on bikes behind me. Go to the main stage. This is like 1 PM, so there's like there might be like 10,000 people like in front of the stage, but it's not like packed. And I think it was Coheed and Cambria were playing or something like that.
Oh, nice.
So I get to like the crowd. I take off my shirt. Cops are behind me. Just fucking run right into the mosh pit and like come out the other side and like walk all the way around the park again. And then I come back to that stage. Cops lost me in the mosh pit. Like they weren't going in that shit.
Why do I feel like that's not the only time you use that cash switch on a woman?
He's 100, baby.
It's $200. It's a $5 bill.
Yeah, it was funny though, because like it's like 1:00. I'm like, where's Rage playing? Someone's like, this stage. I'm like, this stage? Go all the way to the front, dead center, front row. Like got one bar going this way, the middle one going this way on me. I fucking sat there for 7-8 hours. I was like peeing in Gatorade bottles. People around me were like, we're gonna go get beers. I'm like, here's $40. Get a beer for you. Get a beer for me. Like 4 hours later, some dude would show up and be like, here's your beer, man. I'm like, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
But literally, just I wasn't moving. Fucking
yeah.
almost got crushed to death during that show.
I just saw Rage this past year. We
Last summer? Or?
yeah, United when he broke his leg.
I was at Alpine the night before.
I remember that. We weren't planning on going. I was about to go for a run with Troy, who's one of our bartenders.
Yeah.
Get a text message from one of my regulars that's call me. I'm like, I texted. It was Fallon.
Yeah.
And so I call her. Like, what's up? She's like, I'm not feeling good. I was sick and under the weather. She's like, I got tickets to Raise Machine. You want to go? Yeah. I'm like, Troy, you want to go? Troy's like, I gotta do laundry. I'm like, dude, it's Raise Against the Machine, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
you
going.
And they had fucking
Run the Jewels.
Run the Jewels open.
That was when I was really excited. So
yeah.
we went home after the run, showered, and hopped the car, drove right to United Center, get there, pick up our tickets, and it's 4 tickets. Freaking get there, we're like 4 feet from the stage.
No shit.
I was
Yeah.
like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I owe you? And she's like, don't worry about it. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah. When I saw him at that Lollapalooza, they actually like the crowd just fucking surged,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up with a bruise across my chest and across my side from like being in that front, like dead center. And they got about 3 songs in, and then lights go on, band's off the stage, cops come out on the stage, and everyone's like, "What the fuck just happened?" And after about like 10 minutes, Zach comes out and he's like, "You guys all need to take like 3 steps back. Like we're 5 minutes away from like them canceling the show." They're like, "And if you're a girl within the first 200 feet, like get the fuck out of here. Like crowd surf up. Like we'll get you to the side." And there's this like little tiny girl that was about like,
hurt probably.
yeah, well, like people were just like, you look up and they have the house lights on, and it's just like girls that are passed out, dudes like that got trampled, and they're just like pulling people out left and right. And this little girl who was like 10 feet to my right, like that I saw earlier, like sitting there, they're like picking her off the floor, throw her up. She's fucking limp. It was crazy. You know, finally after about like 20 minutes, they come back out and they're like, all right, everyone, like, take a couple steps back, And they go into like bullet in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it was just fucking right up against the fucking. It was one of those ones where like I had to like push up just to get air, like you're like can't breathe. But it was worth every fucking.
I don't like being touched like that.
Dude. It was
You're
nuts
saying
though,
that with
man.
a creepy smile, though, so I don't believe you.
No, I mean, it's just like I don't know. I would start panicking.
Yeah.
Easily.
All
Like claustrophobic, man.
Too close.
Yeah, but we're lucky we're bigger guys. Just kind of spread out.
Yeah, exactly. If I was like 5'6", I would
Yeah.
freak the fuck out.
All right, let's get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for segment 2 of this episode of the Four Shots Podcast. Sitting with us is Mike Pruitt from the Vine in Grayslake, Illinois. Mike, thanks again for being on with us.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Let's just kind of keep going where we left off before all that concert talk. So you know you're buying the place off or paying the place off, buying it for yourself and your family. Just had a kid like right before this happened.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, like, you know, you definitely were saying your wife helps you out a lot with the home stuff and kind of holds that for it down. Were there any problems? Like, I'm always interested in this. I'm kind of getting into a serious relationship right now. This young man is over here is in kind of a serious relationship. And I mean, did you ever run into like relationship problems just because of the hours you got to pull, the amount of hours you got to work, especially owning a place? I mean, you're there all the time.
The outside, right? Because there was a lot of times we'd go do events and stuff, and she either didn't want to go or couldn't go, and here I am going concerts or sport events with staff and doing things. So yeah, I mean, you got people from the outside looking and saying, "Oh, he's always out doing stuff," but not really. I mean, we make time when times due, and
Yeah.
if she knows it and my staff knows it, my managers are good. If it's like I need a day off, or like, hey, my wife's like, we need some alone time, Martha or somebody, but like, yeah, take it off, figure it out. It's vice versa. One of my staff needs off. It's like, hey, I need to get some alone time or get away from this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Shit, we'll figure it out.
And I mean, has it kind of always been like
It's my
that, or
favorite
like
phrase in
when you were
restaurants.
first buying it?
I mean,
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's-
it's always been like that. Yeah, it's just we have a very past employees and still same employees we have. Everybody's always that togetherness and that family where like you cover each other's shifts, and it's like that. Not just at Vine, it's like that at a lot of restaurants where you make it work. Not a week goes by where somebody's either sick or needs a last minute day off that you're gonna get it covered.
Right. Yeah. When you started having the kids, like, was it hard for you to kind of balance that, like, home time with them or with the restaurant, or were you kind of in a position where you could
When
like
they
step
got
away?
older, I would say when they got older, more familiar with it.
Yeah.
So now I make sure I have time with them. It helps that we're close Sunday Mondays. But yeah, I love my kids. We hang out a lot. They're getting older now. My oldest is now working at the bar, so he started at 14 too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's bussing.
Cool.
But it's anytime I involve them in, or now it's like they're at that fun age where it's like, hey, you guys want to go to Chevelle show with me? They're like, yeah, let's do it. So
Right.
Yeah.
I think my youngest has been to 3 already. He's probably
Cool.
been to like 10 concerts.
That's
nice,
awesome.
dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so you find ways to do that, or
Yeah. That's like a win-win. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
get to go hang out and he's
Yeah,
enjoying it and we're
it's
spending
awesome.
it together.
You get to see your kid enjoy something that you enjoy, and that's got to be,
Exactly.
you know,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
see it through their eyes.
Right.
So, but there was a lot of things I had to miss. A lot of family celebrations, not just my family, but like around like holidays and stuff, where it's like I got to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make those sacrifices, but
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, yeah, just like even something like that, like around Christmas time, you know, like
Mhm.
you're probably, it's one of your busiest times of the year.
it is. But the one thing we've always done, and we still to this day, is we don't open on holidays.
Right.
So
Did you ever feel like the pressure though, like, you know, that month before Christmas, you know, basically Thanksgiving to Christmas, you're probably at the bar every day, restaurant
Yeah.
every day, and you know, your wife's trying to do the Christmas shopping for the kids and stuff like that. Was there any friction with that, or?
We're that weird family, me and my wife, where we start buying gifts throughout this. If we see something the kids like, let's just buy and put it away.
Yeah.
And we have
That's
this-
smart, though. You know.
Yeah, and we hide it. It's a lot easier now that they know. Hopefully, no kids are listening. There's no Santa Claus. So,
God, hopefully there are no
Yeah,
kids
right.
listening to this.
But,
podcast.
There's
Again-
a lot of non-listenable
Just kill
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
in
Just
between.
kill it.
Santa
Half your
Claus
guys'
believing
listening
child.
group.
If you've made it this far in the podcast, thanks for being a loyal listener.
yeah.
I feel like
yeah.
Jay, weren't you like Santa Claus to a kid over at
No, they
Are
told
you
me.
allowed to talk about that?
No, I light the lamp. No. It was when I was working at Center Cut. Dan was like, "Hey, we want to do like a brunch with Santa thing. And would you want to work that?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool." And I was like, yeah, like would I be? And he's like, "You would be Santa." And I was like, And I was like, fuck you, dude. He's got the white beard and the white hair. No, they never even did the event. I just got insulted for no reason.
You screwed your beard out for nothing.
I was like, yeah. I was like, maybe make sure it's gonna happen before you tell somebody that works there that they're the fattest person there in the weirdest way possible.
Oh man,
it's like the Sopranos episode. Like, hey, you're the fat guy. You want to be Santa?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, but it's holidays, stuff like that. I still find time to either have to burn it at both ends, but I still help out organize things. So,
Yeah.
like, we just hosted Thanksgiving for the first time for both sides of our family, and
At your house.
at my house.
Wow.
It was cool because like I had to make sure all my mom's recipes, the way she's done them for every year, were like exactly how she would do them. So it was like 3 days of cooking.
Yeah.
Like I was exhausted afterwards, but it was still cool to do.
Yeah.
So.
You feel a little pressure, like your mom was going to critique it and be like, "That's pretty good."
She did, but it was a good. She criticized it in a good way. She was happy. So, but yeah, I was nervous. I was like,
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that whole thing. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
But no, it was good. It was good.
Nice one. More of a roar than a burp.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it low.
I thought that was a motorcycle that drove by. I didn't realize that came out of your body.
The bear coming out of hibernation right
man.
there.
I'll just include them from now on.
No.
That's fine.
I'm just glad I can't.
We'll label that Mike yours, and then we'll know.
All right, well, let's get into what we were just talking about out on the patio here. You were telling us a story about having to clean a grease trap.
Yeah. Because we were all talking about times you had to clean up after somebody vomiting or doing something.
Right.
But yeah, no, there's been times where I've had to clean grease traps, either at Last Chance or the Vine, and it's one of those things I've never been really afraid of because it's like I just tell myself it's just food. It's just byproduct. But yeah, it's like you either have the option of your grease traps clogged or full, you got to shut down, or let's unclog it and empty some of it with a wet vac or something and figure out a way to dispose of it.
Right.
But yeah, and I'll never forget the one time I was cleaning 4 feet deep. I don't know if, and
this is like an above ground one, or is it below ground?
below ground.
Below ground.
Probably
Okay.
about 3 feet. I was with one of my old partners and got this thing unclogged, ready to go, and watch fell off. I got to take my watch off, and now it became looking for a needle in a haystack, trying to find my watch all the way up to like my shoulder, covered in grease, and
Oh my god.
washing myself with Dawn dish soap just to get the slippery filling off.
Did you end up finding it?
Oh yeah, I found my watch.
You
I
got
washed, Oh yeah, I think I washed that thing like 5 times.
I was gonna say, I'm guessing it wasn't a $17 Velcro watch from Walmart.
Well, I was gonna say,
No.
was it expensive?
No.
Was it sentimental? Or?
Yeah, I think actually that one I like watches. One thing I like is like collecting. I collect sneakers, hats, and watches. I like.
Yeah.
Although now I have a smartwatch, I haven't bought much watches in a while, so it was a nice watch. It just slipped right off my wrist.
Oh man.
Now I've learned take off all jewelry. It's like
Wait. So you had gloves on, but
no, I didn't. I don't think I had a glove on.
you were just
Yeah,
raw dogging it.
Well, yeah, it's not like I'm gonna stick my fingers in my mouth after I clean it. You just
Right.
wash your hands afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you done ribs at your house or something like that and you don't have gloves on?
It's true.
Or raw chicken. It's not
Right.
like you're gonna stick your fingers in. That raw chicken's just gonna be as bad as that grease trap is.
It doesn't scare me quite as much. Like when I was doing the fish house, we had an above ground grease trap,
Yeah.
like from our 3 compartment and everything. And I had to like pay a high school kid to do that every week because I was just like we got it done. I think.
Oh, you guys had to clean yours every week?
Well, we got it done like once a month, and if we went, because it was a small one, it was like a little 2x4
Yeah,
like one.
no, it's kind of like Last Chance.
Yeah.
Above ground.
And so like every, we were closed on Sunday, so every Saturday night I would pay like a high school kid to do it, and I gave him a key because I couldn't even be in the place. I'm like, we would finish everything, and I would just be like, here's $100, like clean
Says it's
this
100. It's a $20 bill.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think it was
And then he
100.
throws it over there.
Yeah, he throws it. It's a new high school kid. He's not allowed at high schools anymore.
I don't even think it was 100. I think it was
I'll pay you
50
after.
because
Throw it, lock the door.
there was a kid that was already doing, not a kid, but like a 23-year-old that was doing it already when I took over, and I think he was doing it for 75, and he wanted 100, and he asked me for the 100, and I looked over at the high school kid, and I said, "How much would you do it for?" And he goes, 50, and I'm like, "Okay, you're doing it."
Now I just realized you have to include the whole Lollapalooza conversation you had because nobody's gonna know why we're even talking about that.
That's fair.
Oh, we will. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But yeah, no, cleaning out a grease trap is probably the worst thing in the restaurant industry. I feel like you have to do.
That's rough.
So worse than cleaning shit out of a urinal?
That's something you'll have to ask Troy, but yeah, that happened too. So
I think
happened.
the wall shart is the worst.
The wall shart, man. I was telling you guys outside, like that. One of my first days in the bar, like they were like, "You're the new guy. You gotta clean up whatever this guy sprayed all over a wall on the back of the tank." Couldn't even do it. I can't do it. We had a guy. Kyle Cashman. Do you know Cashman?
Yeah, no, I know Kyle. I've known Kyle for probably 2012.
He was technically like our first guest on this show. He comes in Saturday night, and he's there for maybe a minute and a half, and some kid pukes all over him.
All over him? Oh my God! Bless your soul, Kyle. What did he do? He took it, didn't he?
Because I didn't see it happen. I ended up watching the video. It's
Dude, did you see
funny.
what he posted on Facebook about it?
Yeah.
Like his description? He's like, the kid put his hand over his mouth, which is kind of like when you put your thumb over the hose. And it just...
Oh, well, the table behind us right here, we had a buddy during COVID who had a mask on. And
I was bartending that night.
Remember that? He went to throw up. And
with the mask on?
Oh, no. Went out every direction. I just remember...
The good news is he got himself mostly.
But it was all
contagious.
because of Fireball. And I'm like, I looked at Jason Oates and Mason Andrews. I'm like, you guys got him. I'm like, you bought him those shots. Oh, man.
That's funny.
It happened.
Don't you get a warning? I feel like I know 15 minutes.
The warning was like that burp you just made earlier after that Malort.
No.
If you do a shot that doesn't sit right, which is what happened.
First, it's in my tummy, obviously.
Tum-tum.
But then your mouth starts watering, and I still have 5 to 10 minutes when my mouth starts watering.
When you start doing that deep breath when you're like that.
Yeah,
like,
because you're trying
okay.
to do yoga or Lamaze or something to try and keep from barfing all over, but it's not working.
Breathing exercises.
This kid. So I ended up watching the video yesterday of it, because it happened right in the middle of the bar. Like I didn't see it happen. I just see him walking by, and he's got this shit all over it. And I'm like, someone spilled ranch on you? And he's like, no, some kid puked on me.
Oh man.
I'm like, oh fuck. So then I go and I look, and this kid he puked basically at the bar, and then ran to the bathroom, and then puked up our stairs to the bathroom.
God.
And I had to make my 3 busters go and clean it because I can't even get near that shit, or otherwise I'll throw up. And the funniest thing is they can't either. So I got 3 dudes on the stairs trying to clean this up, and they're all just dry.
I'll never forget that last
next
chance
to
when
me.
a lady puked up, and we went to go get the mop to clean it, and another lady slipped and fell in it.
Oh no, that's so bad.
Oh, that's
It's like, oh.
You got to get a COVID mask and spray some mint in it and put it on.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
Dude, I told you about that time I fucking was coming up here on a Sunday, and I stepped in the front door and slid. And some dude
that was
who puked right outside the door.
3 weeks ago? No, a month and a half ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
I have terrible memories of barf on, the big yellow school bus. As an elementary school student, just some kid in the back is motion sick and just barfs, and it's every time the bus driver stops, it creeps forward on the fucking asphalt tiled floor, and you're like, it's terrible.
Oh yeah, but that kid definitely I went back and I'm watching him, and they do a shot, and for 5 minutes you can see this kid just kind of
demons.
Yeah, and he's trying to hold it, and then about 30 seconds before he turns and throws up on Cashman, you see Cashman walk in behind him, and he's just sitting there. And this kid in front of him is just doing this, and you just see his buddy just kind of stand up and do the walk back, and the kid just turns and like he said, just yaks all over Cashman, and Cashman's reaction is just.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck? And it just stood there.
Oh, man.
Now, in a couple weeks, Kyle gets to relive that memory all over again by listening to this.
And he had a brand new Hawaiian t-shirt or Hawaiian shirt.
It was
with an otter on it or something.
Yeah, it was an otter riding a T-Rex or something with laser beams.
Man.
Yeah, he was probably so excited.
He was
going around town you guys want to see my shirt? See my shirt? You can see my shirt? What the hell?
Dude, I felt bad because I couldn't stop laughing at him either. I was just like, get you a beer and a shot. And he's like, well, I'll take the shot, but I'm going to go home and change.
Oh, man.
Sorry,
fuck.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kyle, if you're listening, you're a fantastic dude. We're sorry that happened to you, but it's really funny that it happened. And it's kind of funny that it happened to you, man. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
Sorry.
You're great, though. But it's just, especially with your new shirt. Sorry
Let's
about
make a pat right now. I'll never throw up on you, Kyle.
Yeah.
It's funnier than it happening to someone who would get really, really mad in a way, which I know is not nice to people who have control of their emotions he does.
He
But
wasn't even that mad. He's like, this is the Cashman curse. He's like, And I was just
My
like,
father,
like
and
he-
my grandpa.
he literally was just like,
Just like that old gypsy lady said. Every male in your family will be barfed on by a 22-year-old.
They like flashback
When you're wearing your favorite shirt.
mole.
It's an oddly specific curse, but it panned out.
oh man. And now, real quick, while we're just going over the last weekend, I'm going to bring one more thing up that I feel like I'm talking about every week. But you guys deal with this, like people think they don't have to have the IDs anymore, or like a picture,
Or a picture
of their
ID on their phone. I
We
hate
do.
that.
And even more like all the whole non-alcoholic craze. And I'm not talking about like just like, oh, I'm gonna get just a juice drink. I'm talking about like your non-alcoholic beer stuff. You still
Yeah.
need ID for.
Yeah.
So you'll get the people that come with their young kid and they're like, oh, he's going to take a non-alcoholic beer. I'm like, no, that's the easiest trick in the book. Pour it in a glass and then you make the blatant switch later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we run into it, but I mean, we still ID everybody. And the reason for is if you're going to come to the bar and have an ID, the reason why is like, say he has 5 drinks. Yeah, he might be over 21, but what happens if he passes out? I don't know who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
then now
And if
you're
the cops show up and they don't know who he is and they have no way to ascertain that,
and he
you're
doesn't have
fucked.
ID,
Yeah.
you're screwed.
Well,
So yeah, you have
and,
to
like,
have ID.
The actual Illinois law is like if you're under 27, no matter what, like even if you're my roommate, I'm still supposed to like check your ID every time. you come
Every
in here if
single
you're under
time,
27.
Yeah.
But like,
Really? I thought it used to be if you look 40.
That's not a law. That's a practice.
and it's
Oh,
like
I
to
thought that was
speed things
actually
up
the
places.
law.
it's-
Like,
so it's like a guideline. They say like you don't have to card someone if they look over 40. You're supposed to card everyone under that, and they're like, even if you know that they're 21, you still have to see the ID
Yeah, but
if
it's
they're
hard
under
'cause
27.
everybody has those kids in school. I mean, I have friends in high school that look like they were 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
You
gonna
have
say
that
I
one
got
kid.
carded more in my 20s because it
Yeah.
became more serious than I mean I
Well,
could walk into the
it
gas
is-
station and buy
it's-
cigarettes when I was
It's the only way
15.
you're like
Yeah.
legally and liably like covered. Is it like you could have a fake ID, but as long as I looked at it and the date and the expiration were
yeah,
good,
exactly. You're
Well,
not the FBI.
And as long as you took the liberty to actually look at it right.
right?
I mean,
yeah,
if it's made them keep it in their actual wallet and didn't
yeah.
take it out.
If it's a black
you're
guy
still
with a
liable.
white guy's ID, something like that,
yeah,
like
or
obviously,
if it's half broken in half or stapled together.
yeah.
It's like my ID that still says 230 pounds, you know?
Call him.
They're like, sir,
This is a
sir, this can't be
So-
you.
Is there another person in your shirt?
So, anyways, we get a kid this weekend. Again,
same deal.
Doesn't have his ID. I got a picture of it on my phone. I'm like, absolutely not, dude. Like,
Yeah.
like, come on.
Right.
Like, you go to the bar, you need 2 things: an ID and money. And if you don't have your ID, you don't need your money because you're not coming in.
Right.
And he's fucking arguing with my front door guys. Goes around to the back. I go check it out. He's arguing with my back door guy now too. Like, and the guy's like, no, you got to have like your actual ID on you. So the guy goes, oh, real cool. Suck my dick. Fuck you. Leaves. 5 minutes later, shows back up. My friends are inside. I can't get in, and my phone's dead. Can you charge my phone for me? I'm like, you just told this guy.
Did you
to
say
suck-
this? Did you say the
Yeah.
same thing back to him?
Yeah, I was just like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like you just told my bouncer to suck your dick because we wouldn't let you in, and now you want us to charge your phone.
Dude,
Like,
think about that thought process though. He was like, "Shit,
yeah,
And now I
My
gotta go.
phone's
back to these
dead.
guys.
I don't know. In my
he
head,
should have tried another bar." There's
well, in
several
my head,
walkable.
that's what I'm like. Oh, maybe he went to like 10 different places, and they all told him to go fuck off because he didn't have his ID too.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Nah, you dealt with that stuff.
I remember Tommy's was in Libertyville. They were serious about IDs. Everybody at the door.
Oh,
My
yeah.
buddy had his real ID, but something about I don't know. It looked like slightly blurry, right? But it was his legit ID.
Yeah.
We were like 23 or 24, and the bouncer was like, "Hey man, I can't. Like that looks fucked up to me. If you can get a cop to come here and tell me that that's a real ID, somehow ascertain that, prove that, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop saying ascertain. But like, just he was like, all right, whatever. Just
done
you
that.
can't fucking
It's-
risk it.
and
If
most
you-
people, we've done that to somebody, and somebody's like, okay, they actually went down to the Grayslake
Yeah.
police department's right here. It's even closer for you guys.
Yep.
And they went there, came back with the slip from the police department, said, yeah, they're good. So
Yeah.
I mean, they'll
And
do
it said on a piece of paper,
written in crayon, but
is good.
My son
Circled.
Tom.
I've been with people who have showed their passport, which is a legit form of ID,
It is.
but like the bouncers just
Yeah.
never seen anyone do that before, and is like, no, bro, no.
yeah, that's one of those things. It's per discretion. At the bar.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's always but like
Just because
that's-
we're liable if you go and do something fucking stupid, I can just be like, I'm not going to serve you because I think you're going to start a fight.
yeah,
Like,
You guys know the thing about out of country driver's licenses too. You
they
cannot
do not work. It has to be a passport.
Yep, because if
Yeah.
you have to have your passport too, right? So yeah, that's a
and
tough one
it's
too.
hard enough to tell like It's hard enough to know every state's ID and tell if they're legit at all.
The
Like,
goddamn
you're not gonna know
Arizona ones
Azerbaijan.
that are valid for 40 years
years,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, like so,
Legit, no new picture, nothing.
Yep.
a couple weeks.
That's amazing. I'm not getting younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Flip
But
up ID.
A couple weeks ago, they were doing like the Libertyville days and everything like that, and a group of girls walk in, and I see them. I'm like, these girls look young, like they look like. Yeah, I'm like, there's no way they're 21.
And you were like, oh, yeah.
Just get shut the fuck up. So
Breaking out all his ones and his.
they go up to the bar, and I run up to like the bartender, and I'm like, hey, like card them again, and they're like, well, they got carded at the door. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, but I want to see the IDs, like card them again. So it's like 5 girls. Bartender's like, yeah, I need to see all your IDs. 2 of them bolt towards the bathroom. The other 3 pull theirs out. One's a vertical. She just turned 21 that day. Other one doesn't look like the chick at all. Third one, I'm like, this is fake as fuck. So I'm like, listen, I'm like, can't serve you. I don't think these are real. I'm like, I think this one, like, it's your 21st birthday. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, I think this is real. I'm like, these 2, I don't think this is you, and I don't think this is real. I'm like, here you go. Have a good night. But get out of here. But the girl's mom writes an email to my owner, like, bitching, like, you ruined my daughter's 21st birthday. You're, blah, blah, this and that, all this stuff. And so the guy, I think the bouncer told him, like, we want to give him their cover back or whatever. But so our owner just, Venmos her the $20 that they paid or whatever to get in. And I'm like, yeah, like, sorry, like, I don't know, maybe they were real, but they didn't look real and all this stuff. And I told him the whole story. So he, like, after he sends the money, he, like, sends her that back again. And she just replies, like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, all right, yeah, your daughter was 21, but the 4 girls with her, definitely more. So
yeah, that's my favorite. Is they come in and like 2 of them goes like they're gonna go play darts.
Yeah.
Like you're wearing fucking high heels. You're not playing darts tonight.
Get out of here.
I'm like I'm carding every single person in your friend group before I pour anything.
Yeah.
It always
And
makes
they're like, yeah.
It always makes me laugh too, like when they're like surprised, like, no, we're just over here playing darts. Like, no, exactly. Like, I was your age. I used to do this. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. Like,
I tried
like,
all of that.
Like, there's nothing I haven't seen. And when there is something I haven't seen, I'm fucking amazed now. Like, just like, holy shit, I can't believe someone thought of this. But like that,
I don't know if I'd pick a venue in the suburbs when I was that age, like 19, 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm definitely not going to like a brewery to try and fucking score alcohol underage.
No.
Like,
you had our places, ours, because I was lucky enough. And my parents probably listen to this. I don't care, but it's back in the day. I was 18 when our senior trip for right after school to Cancun. Me and a buddy got a fake ID. Nice. It was awesome. It was Michael Johnson from Hartford, Connecticut. I don't even know why I picked that name, but it was all scannable. It had holograms. Everything was perfect. We would use it like I remember using it at Janetta's once that I think is now called like cock. I don't know, probably not appropriate. But when to use it, Janetta,
like the cocky? Is that what it's called?
That's what I think it's called. But she looked at this thing and she's
what
like,
do they serve?
Yeah, she's more looking at this thing, looking at me, and I'm like, I was with I think Christine Andrews at the time. We just got done barking at Last Chance. She's looking at it and she's like, I love your guys' hologram in these, and she's showing everybody around the bar. I'm like, oh, God, I'm gonna get busted. I'm gonna get busted, but no, she gave it back.
Yeah, we had one the other day we caught, and like on the Illinois ones, like it'll have like your picture and a hologram on the back now.
Yeah.
And so like the guy kept it because he looks at that part of it, and it's just a stick figure drawing. And I was just like, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
that's really funny. I told you the one about the backwards hat kid, right?
Yeah, he had the hat on.
Yeah, and his Minnesota
and the
ID. And he's wearing the same hat, the same shirt when he comes in here. I'm like,
it's like in that National Lampoon's Vegas where he's taking the picture on the strip.
Yeah.
wait,
what was
did I
his name?
tell
Mr.
about
Papadopoulou?
Yeah, Papadopoulou.
Did I tell how
No,
I got
Papa Giorgio.
Yeah,
Georgia, that's right.
my legit ID got rejected? And I was at
like,
Dominic's. You remember Dominic's?
Yeah.
I was at Dominic's in Lake Bluff, and I go up in line, and I'm like 23 or 24 already. And I show them my ID, and the lady's like, oh, I don't know. This doesn't really look like you. And I look over, and I point, and I'm like, I'm wearing the same shirt
you
right
did
now
tell that. Yeah.
in this fucking picture.
Oh yeah, because you had it in your ID.
And I'm like, dude, like, you don't need to be like the Secret Service or whatever, and fucking like, and if you like a good faith effort is where like I think your liability ends at. Like that new gas station on 176 straight up takes your ID away and like scans it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I got busted with my fake ID when that happened. They
The
put
only
it in the
place that
machine.
used to do that was
scanned
the
out.
It was at a liquor store, not a bar, and I was buying a 30 rack for somebody else, got busted. This is fine to air because it already happened. Yeah, you're looking at me like, should we?
No,
Everybody knows.
like a liquor store is actually they call the cops on you and shit.
No, they didn't have to. The machine alerted the cops, and it was in Round Lake Park at a liquor store. and
Holy
the cop
shit.
shop
And they just
was
showed
right
up?
next
Yeah.
door. Yeah, and 3
They don't
cops
mess
walk
around,
in. Dude, it was a whole experience.
No
man.
shit.
Dude, I'll
Yeah.
never
I had
forget
the worst
Cost me
fake
a
ID.
lot
of money.
everywhere.
the
I ordered
scariest
mine from China, and
situation-
it looked legit.
Yeah, the scariest situation I've had was at Marcus Theater up in Milwaukee for Blink 182 show. And
Yeah.
this guy next to me, this guy was wired. He's like, "Hey, you want to go get a beer?" And I'm like, "Sure, yeah, let's go get a beer." So I'm like, "I got this round." I'm talking to the guy in line. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I just bartend." I was probably 20 at the time. He goes, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a Milwaukee state cop." And I was like, shit. So I'm like, I go to pay, and he looks at my ID, and he's like, "That's not you." And he's like, "You're cool. Don't worry about it." I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm buying the guy a beer at this point already.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
And
was
it's
the scariest situation ever.
Wisconsin, it's a little
Yeah.
different. You know, it's a little.
I
more
had
lax.
the worst like New Jersey fake ID. And it worked all the time, everywhere. I don't know if people just didn't give a fuck or whatever. Except for I was like at a club in the city, like going to meet some like people, and I walk up and the bouncer's like, no, man. Like the thing was like peeling back, like it was
Yeah.
terrible. It was like broken in half. They went through
Yeah.
my wash machine, and I'm like, come on, man, like.
Recyclable on it.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, my people are in there. Like, all my friends were standing there, and the guy's like, no. I'm like, all right, well, like, there's a cop right there. If I go tell him, like, and he tells you to let me in, like, will that work? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I go down to the cop. I'm like, hey, like, this guy won't let me in. I just moved here. I'm from New Jersey, blah, blah, blah. The guy just looks at the ID, gives it back to me, and goes, get a new ID. I'm like, okay, like, have a good night.
Yeah.
But
I never needed one. Like in high school, a friend always had a fake, and you weren't going to. We didn't go to bars.
I thought you were going to say because you looked like you were 40 when you were like 10.
I
That
didn't
was
get
part
carded
of
on
it.
my
I
21st
never,
birthday,
I
dude.
never needed one for cigarettes. Like 15 years old, just walking in the mobile and like bluffing, like you know, never questioned me. But at U of I, you just need to be like 18 or 19, depending where you are, to get in the bar,
Yeah.
and then they just don't card you.
My 21st
It was that easy.
birthday, I had to use that fake ID because I lost my real ID like 3 days earlier. And so I go to a bar, shout out Big City Tap, Belmont and something, Sheffield or something down there.
Oh,
But,
boy.
you know, the Big Shitty. But I would go there all the time because it was like a 5 o'clock bar. So I was cooking for Rosebud downtown, get off like the red line right at Belmont, go there for like 2 beers before going home. And I go in on my 21st birthday, and I'm like, yeah, it's my birthday. And the bartender I know, he's like, oh, like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 21. And he's like, I've been coming here for like 2 years, dude. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's my fake ID. And I like show him. He's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah.
Did he kick you out?
Gives me a shot. Goes, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
See, I had the total opposite situation once. I took the whole staff down for it was a liquor show in Chicago. Get down there, do the whole liquor show. Or like, hey, let's go out for some drinks before we get on the train. We go to Mother's.
Oh, yeah.
Go
Sure.
in. Left my ID. Didn't have it on me. I never had it on me the whole time. It was at home, and I was like, crap, they wouldn't let us in. I'm like, hey, I'm with all these guys. So we ended up going next door, like, I think it was called the truck stop at the time. And the guy, I get to the bouncer. I'm like, hey, man, here's my business card. You can Google me real quick. This is my staff. Here's my credit card. I'm paying for everybody. Is there a way we can get it? They finally let us in, but I was just like, oh, my God, here I am. But I could see why it could suck sometimes.
It
Not
does,
happen,
yeah.
But I was cool with whatever situation they said. They said no. All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna go to the train. I'm like, we'll figure something else out.
I was out of San Diego like 2 years ago with a group of guys for birthday, and I knew I'm like, my ID's expired, like when I went out
Yeah.
there. And there was only one place, you know, the guy scanned it, and he's like, it's expired, I can't let you in. And everyone's arguing with him, like, no, dude. And like people,
Yeah.
like, I had to like hold a couple of my friends back. They're like,
Yeah, it is
fuck
what it
this
is,
guy. I'm
man.
like, no, I'm like, he's
That's
doing his
the
fucking
law,
job.
man.
Like,
Yeah, it's his job.
yeah.
I went to see Conan O'Brien at I can't remember what theater in Chicago. This is a couple years ago. It was for my birthday, so it was a couple days after, right? And my ID expired on my birthday. That's one of the nice gifts the state of Illinois gives you. So I go to grab the first round of beers me and my girlfriend get. It's fine. The guy didn't even card us. It was people were walking in, so it was just like fine. They look old enough. And then I went in like in between sets or whatever, and I go to grab a beer, and I show the guy, and he's like, "Oh, it's expired, man." And I'm like, and he's like, "It's expired." And I was like, well, can I at least get a water? And he's like, yeah, $8. And I was like, fuck, dude.
Here's a special for $6.
But I mean, those guys, a lot of those people that serve at theaters like that, they're in a union. They can't not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's legit. Not that makes everybody should be checking, but it's
Yeah.
like I was an asshole about it because I'm an asshole and I was already pretty buzzed
you
up.
are who you are.
Yeah, but afterwards, reflecting, I'm like, if he had served me, then without a valid ID, the next 15 people, are they good too? Like, where does it end? Where's the line drawn?
Yeah.
It really sucks when you're committed to a night out like that, though. We went downtown to see like The Dead or something one year. Got a hotel room, and I got a fucking speeding ticket on the way to the city.
They take your ID.
They took my ID because no one had $75 cash on them. And we were all like 22, 23 and went to Rock Bottom Brewery, and they like had a fucking waiter follow me around all night
to make sure you weren't drinking.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to cover. Yeah.
Like,
it sucks.
Follow me around.
It sucks on both
like,
ends of that.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? It sucks for the patron, and it sucks for the business
Yeah,
too.
because Fatty would have spent 60 on beer.
Well, I was gonna say, how did 4 guys that were 23 not have $75 going to a Grateful Dead concert?
Yeah,
because they bought drugs already with all their cash.
You know,
I'm assuming they're buying them in the city. Oh, okay.
No, we're bringing them to the city.
Who's driving that fast going to a Grateful Dead show?
Oh shit.
Yeah. You ever heard Ripple, man? Slow down.
Number like 10 miles per hour under the speed.
Yeah.
How many whippets you do that night?
I don't like whippets.
But how many did you do that night?
No, I don't do. I used to use other stuff.
Oh, come on,
concert.
dude. What is that?
This is a mini shot. I took 2 tall ones.
Come on, do a
No.
real shot.
This is a real shot.
This isn't the 2.5 shot podcast.
No,
All right,
if you
Evan,
went to
if he
a
throws
certain
up, you have to
dive
clean
bar,
it.
you would
I know
get
where all the
shots
stuff
instead.
is.
If he throws up, I will pay someone to clean it up.
Yeah.
I'll-
What's your rate?
If I threw up, it would be
You're not gonna
in
get it.
I'll give you
appropriate
$50.
receptacle.
If he throws up and you clean it up, I'll give you 50.
Yeah, I could use some cash. Yeah, fill
Come
it
on,
up
to the top.
Yeah.
To the top.
Keep going.
Come on.
There
Otherwise,
you go.
this podcast loses all of its meaning.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to call Kyle to show up before he takes his
There
next
goes our
shot.
credibility. These guys didn't actually do 4 shots.
Now
Why
it's
am I even listening?
Now I have the biggest shot.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Let's just be honest. We normally do like 12. So,
Yeah, I was like, maybe I'll only take 6 shots today.
all right, this is the end of segment number 2. Time for shot number 3. Mike, thanks very much for coming on, man.
Cheers.
Malort.
Oh, I took it so bad.
So much silence.
It's like, have you
It's
ever
rough, dude.
used a liquid Band-Aid?
Yeah.
It's like a shot of liquid Band-Aid.
He doesn't like whippets, but he drinks jars of liquid Band-Aid.
They make jars of it now?
You can smell it has the same solvent as super glue in it.
And possibly gay. You've heard that whole rumor? All right, yeah, this is
Patrick's
not
got 2
going
out
on.
of those 3.
Maybe I shouldn't have said the gay thing.
It was funny when I started typing John Travolta in, the first thing that popped up was, is he bi? And I was like, what? That's a new thing?
It's like anyone that's in Scientology. They say
Just
that,
because
right?
you wore a blouse in Saturday Night Fever doesn't mean he's fucking gay, all
I
right?
don't think
who
that's where it
thought
started from.
he was reminding me of.
Oh, he's definitely got a little bird in
Yeah.
him. Yeah. You got a little Bert Kreischer in you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Before,
Not a bad
like,
thing.
honestly, actually, if you would have saw him a week ago before he shaved his head, he looked just like Bert.
I used to get Seth Rogen a lot,
I can see that.
especially I went to California once, and when I came back, my eyebrows were white and my beard was bright red. I was just living in like the mountains in hippie country for like 3 weeks.
Just half albino.
And yeah, I came back and people were like, whoa, you look like Seth Rogen. And then before that, it was Will Ferrell. Because freshman year of college, I had a big stupid mustache, and Anchorman was all the rage. We watched
yeah,
it every
mustaches are
fucking day
shit.
freshman
Ron
year. They weren't even like, you look like Will Ferrell. They would just point and yell Ron Burgundy at me. They're like, Ron Burgundy. I'm like,
I went as Farva from Super Troopers one year,
Can
and
see
a guy
that.
at a bar.
I can see that.
Yeah, and a guy at a
If
bar
you
was
got,
like,
like, a high
"Oh,
and
Paul
tight,
Blart,"
dude.
and I was like, "Go fuck yourself, dude." I'm wearing beige.
It's such a good movie, though. It's such
Paul
a good-
Blart?
Yeah, it's great.
Really? I don't think I've ever seen it.
No,
Mall
it's a
Cop.
cult
so good.
classic for
I
sure.
love Kevin James, dude. Kevin James is fucking great.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
I used to watch King of Queens, and then I turned like 13, and it stopped being funny.
Oh, it's so good. I
Yeah.
still love that
You have
show.
to revisit it.
It's
I don't
fucking
know.
so great. And the fact that a guy like that can get a chick like that.
But that
sweet.
happens in sitcoms. That's how it works. man.
Yeah.
That's always happening.
But
I was a schlub my entire life, you know?
You ever
And
seen Kevin
I
James'
finally landed
the stand-up thing where he's doing the greeting card like bit or whatever? He's like looking up. He's like, a guy walks in. And he's grabs the first one like $4.99. No, puts down $1.99. And it's like a lady walking around. She's reading one. Like no. Grabs one. Like starts crying. Like, oh my God, this is it. Holds it to her heart. Turns it around. Sees the $4.99. No, it's fucking great. He doesn't even say a word for 5 minutes, and you're just laughing the whole time. Kevin James, hilarious. All right, everybody good?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's officially start this off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for segment 3 of this episode of the Four Shots podcast. We are still here with Michael Pruitt, sitting at Charlie's Tavern on a beautiful Monday afternoon. All right,
there goes that motorcycle again.
You had 20 minutes.
He's rambling on about fucking John Travolta and Paul Blart.
Yeah.
There it goes. Mike, let's talk about your beer and bourbon fest real quick. I know that's coming up, right?
Yeah. No. It's,
What is the date on that? This actually might come out right before
September 2nd.
So this is probably coming out like 2 weeks before
Okay.
that, I think.
Yeah. September 2nd. We're bringing it back. Last time we did was 2019. Man, we had probably with vendors and volunteers and people attending, we had about close to 2,200, 2,300 people.
Nice.
Explain kind of like what it is you guys, because you guys block off like the side street over there and everything, right?
So we all of Slusher to the alley and then down the alley in that back parking lot.
And you just bring in a bunch of beer and
so
bourbon
we'll have about
vendors.
80 different scotches, ryes, whiskeys. We'll have about 30 breweries, cigars, food vendors.
You do the cigars and everything too.
Nice.
And this goes basically from like the patio of the Vine, like out onto that parking lot street.
So it's going to come from the street. The patio we're actually going to utilize as a VIP lounge this year.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just
So
remember
tap
whose
some-
podcast you were
Yeah,
on.
tap some. You should do a podcast there during it.
That'd be great.
Are we doing it?
4 shots of whiskey.
I'm in.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
The 4 shots at the beer and bourbon
and
fest.
then randomly interview people.
Just have people wander
We're
up.
just gonna
yeah.
set up a table and do
I've
it.
always wanted to
Oh
do
my
that,
God, this is gonna
you
be
know?
great. Let's
Yeah,
turn into
I'm
the
down
16.
for it. We'll
How-
save you a spot.
What are the times of this podcast?
I'll make sure you want to do any Malort. You'll be good.
What's the date again?
September 2nd. So tickets just went up. bnbfest.com.
bnbfest.com.
B, the letter N, the letter B, and then fest.com. And then right now, actually, for this whole month, we have.
Do you sell tickets at the Viner, or
No,
they got to
just
get them
on the
online?
website.
Gotta get
Yeah,
'em
so
online.
it's easier
Okay.
to manage. We have a whole database program. But right now, if you use the code early10, all capital letters, number 10, you'll save 10% on all your purchases.
Oh, cool.
early 10.
Yep, early 10.
Cool. All capital on that.
That's only for July, and if this comes out afterwards,
This will come out in. Yeah, I was gonna say this will come out in August.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
we'll do another one for
but
you
then
guys.
people know for next
Board
year.
complaints to Michael.
Yeah.
I mean, we could always do a little pre-recording. We did that
Yeah.
for the bar hop. And
Actually,
everything.
I'll probably
I'll
cut
do a
that
coupon
out.
code called 4 shots. So anybody that listens to this, if you use the coupon code 4 shots,
there
There
you
we
go.
go.
There you go.
4 shots,
Right.
baby.
so just remind me. I'll tie that in.
Yeah. Someone write that down.
So then I'll show you your analytics. We have 1 ticket sold.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. You don't even have to print it, man.
That was just.
Jay.
That was just
Like Jay, you're doing the podcast. When you buy a ticket.
well, we had to get one out there.
I have
That's literally
trouble
how-
keeping up with
Yeah.
conversations sometimes, so I just bought one.
But yeah, so the festival started out. It would have been our 17th year doing it, so we kind of
Nice.
run it in part with our anniversary, which is September 11th. It just happened to be the day we opened. We didn't choose the 11th; we just ran out of money to open.
Yeah.
But the Bourbon Fest started out as just a 20 to 30 person bourbon tasting that we did at the bar.
Yeah.
And then it grew, and then it grew, and then
And that was on like the anniversary. Just
yeah, and then we moved it outside in the patio, and we had after like year 2, year 3, we built the patio. We had it out there. And then we moved it to the side street. Back then, we used to only have, when it was outside, we'd have like 12 pop-up tents. It was easy ups. And I
Yeah.
can remember storms coming through in September and having to
Oh yeah.
duct tape them together with old vinyl and
Oh,
keep
man.
them weighted down so they're not flying across.
Right.
And now it's a lot easier. We hire a company. They bring in like big 20, 40-foot tents. And
oh, nice.
yeah, we got past the old days, but it's a big event.
And what does the ticket like get you? Like besides getting you in there,
It gets you be able to sample everything. So you get access to it to see the music and sample everything.
you do bands and everything.
Mhm. Yeah, we got our bands booked. Those will get announced soon. But then the VIP one will get you access into that lounge area, a full bar out there. So, we have the
So
bar
you could
plus
literally
the-
go in there with your ticket and get a tasting from 80 different bourbons or whatever whiskey?
Yeah, it's hard to do. Plus,
If you
you're
can
gonna
make
see
it through
ones
that.
where you're like, oh,
We will try though.
Yeah, you'll see ones where you're like, I've had that. I don't want to do it. But it's just a fun time out. But we're not going to go that full crazy crowd that we used to. We'll probably only stick around 1,500 the first one bringing it back because
that's still a lot
been-
of people. 1,500 is a lot of
3
people,
years.
especially just on that corner. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. Yeah. Maybe what do we do? Quarter ounce from 80 bourbons. That's what 20 shots.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
You think we could do it?
Yeah. But
Can I drink 20 shots of alcohol in a night, which is about 80% of a bottle? Yes, absolutely.
Do you think we should do it and record it all?
Only if there's
Let's
like
all get
something
GoPros.
hearty to eat.
That's not a bad idea, actually. For the whole
Yes, it
fucking
is.
thing. That's actually what we should do.
we have to demo it some other
why-
time.
Instead of doing a podcast, do a vlog.
Well,
Video cast.
we had cameras at one point. It didn't work.
Yeah, nobody wants to see what you look like.
Mostly due to my face.
Yeah, I can see that.
No, yeah, the one camera was just our backs. It was set up
You got
over
the
here.
Radio voice
Yeah.
or the radio
The
face.
face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect face for the
Face.
radio.
Yeah. Yeah, all our listeners think we're three svelte, attractive men. We would hate to bring that crashing down on
I'd
them,
say my
you know?
voice probably sounds fat.
That,
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
mine definitely does, man.
You
Sounds like
know?
I'm currently eating cheese.
I
every
sound
time
like
talk.
It's like Cleveland from
I
Family
mean, if
Guy.
people can see this table right now, all I see is hoagies and grinders. So
Yeah.
Hoagies and grinders.
Navy
Normally there is
beans,
Jersey
Navy
Mike's
beans,
here at
Navy
this
beans,
point.
Navy beans.
Yeah.
There's
gone
gonna
by
be
now.
Jersey Mike's here later. I'll tell you that.
Shout out to Jersey Mike's. If you want to sponsor us,
Yeah.
that adult diaper company is not really coming through. So, yeah, let's
The
come.
funny thing was,
They're the second highest authority on shitting your pants, though. So.
Yeah. I was going to say, maybe we approach it from the other end. Yeah.
oh shit! I was gonna say you do have a shit in your pants story. You like,
Me?
yeah? Well, not you.
Well,
not
no,
you.
I was like, I
but
never have.
You have a
Thank
story.
God.
Yet.
yes.
No, they say that to me. I never have either. I have pissed myself.
No, we did
That
have.
counts. That counts.
That's not
Yeah.
shit, though. That's a different
all
thing.
right. Like you piss your pants. That's the same thing.
Yeah, one is
It's
number
not the
one,
same thing.
and the other is number two.
I would much rather piss my pants than shit my pants. If you get to,
It depends on the volume. Like a little shark compared to like a straight like 5-gallon.
No, because like I've been
Where it's down to
downtown
your
and
ankle.
shit
Oh, we're
my
counting
pants,
sharks?
and then I ditch my undies, and I'm ready to go commando. But if you piss through your pants, you're pissing through your pants and your undies. There's no, you can't pick up a pee.
Yeah.
throw some flour on it.
Oh man.
What's he doing? He's dredging himself. Just piss.
Just wait for the buttermilk.
But no, we did have first year we were open, so 2006 or either second year, we had a city official, not Grayslake. Thank God it wasn't from Grayslake because that'd be awkward. But they were in one of the local counties. She went to use one of our bathrooms and had a mess. And I don't know how, but it wasn't on her pants. It was on her jacket that she had like with her. And then tried hiding it by flushing it down the toilet, and it doesn't work that way.
Just put it in the garbage can.
Try to
Yeah.
flush your jacket down the toilet.
So one of my partners at the time, who's a little
It's
reserved,
just not like logical.
yeah, comes to me and he goes, "Hey, we have a problem. The girl's bathroom's clogged." I'm like, "From what?" He's like, "Coat." I'm like, "Well, take the coat out." He's like, "But it's covered in like fecal matter." I'm like, "What?" He kept saying that. I'm like, "What's it covered in?" I'm like, he's like, "Poop." And I was like,
Called the shit poop.
This isn't forensic files,
called the
dude.
shit
so I'm like, hey, call this shit poop. So I'm like, I walk to the bathroom, open it up, and I'm just like,
Sorry.
come on. I'm like, it was a jean jacket too. Like,
Oh,
a
that's just
treasure,
coarse
man.
already.
You don't throw the Canadian tuxedo down the drain.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Unless.
you definitely don't wipe your shitty
So
ass.
I didn't
with
know who this
jeans.
person was, and then one time, one of my rental properties, I went to go pay the water bill, and of course I'm sitting there waiting. I look at the wall, and I'm like, holy crap, that's the person. That's the person. And I was like, so thank God I've never met them face to face.
Yeah.
Oh
But,
man.
Yep.
It'd be
that
too
was
awkward.
An old story, but thank God they're not from Grayslake, and I don't have to see them. So
All right.
Flushing a jean jacket, man.
yeah, like it was kind of like maybe
That's a rare club of
maybe
people
she
who have
was
tried to do
washing it
that.
and she was gonna come back and grab it later, but
I like how
Stone-
you can't
stone
flush
wash.
10 feet of toilet paper, but she thought a fucking like women's medium jean jacket was going down.
oh, it wasn't medium. Man. It was like your size.
Oh, Jesus. So
So
women's
large.
5X.
Again, just Garbage can.
Yeah.
This is the whole garbage can.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
It was a small
But
boat
back
sail.
again, like we were saying when we were outside, it's like alcohol and thought process goes out the window quick.
Yeah.
It's fucked up that there's
Well,
so many...
and I mean, if you shit yourself in public, you're gonna panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You just do dumb stuff, and then she walks out, and her husband's like, "Where's your jacket?" And she's like, "Poop." What? Poop. Fecal matter.
It's like that joke about like you throw up on yourself at the bar. Bartender says, "Go take $20 out of the ATM. Give me your shirt." Say some guy puked on himself and he gave you $20 for the shirt. You show up at home, give your wife the money. She goes, "Where's your shirt?" And you're like, "Oh, babe, like some guy puked on himself. Gave him my shirt for $20. You know?
You said
like,
that's an old joke, but I've never heard that before.
it's an old joke." But then she goes, "Well, this is $40, and where are your pants?" And you go, "Well, he shit his pants too."
Oh, okay.
Gee,
I interrupted.
I thought it was going
I'm
to go
sorry
back to
for
the Kyle
interrupting it.
story. I was like, somehow.
I should have interrupted that. My bad. I didn't realize. Oh,
I think that's the first time I actually said it right too.
you nailed it.
God.
Except for me. Yeah, I fucked it up. Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
All right. So before we get into like our next part of this thing, we got a couple questions that we're gonna I don't know, man. Maybe we're gonna call it 6 questions because I like both these. First one's gonna be, what's the best advice that you either received or have given to someone that's thinking about doing this for a living?
It's great. I mean, best advice of one of my old partners told me, he's like, try everything once.
Mhm.
And it could be something small or big.
except meth.
No, I'm not talking about like, I'm talking about from a business aspect.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Not
when it
like
comes
open
from-
world.
Yeah,
Unless
an
you're
open
selling the
world.
meth.
Then there's some control factors you need there, legalities. But no,
And not punching a cop either. Yeah.
There's so many times like when we first started where I'm like, oh, we should do this, and then
Things
he was
like
right.
karaoke
you
or
kick
something.
yourself in the ass when you're like, I should have did this and I didn't do it.
Right.
And he's like, just do it once, and if it doesn't work, don't do it again.
Right.
I'm like, don't do it again.
Yeah.
'Cause you
But
can
if
defeat-
it works,
yeah.
save the notes and make it better.
You
And
can
just
defeat
like that
yourself before it even happens by saying,
Exactly.
that's not going to work. Nobody wants that. Well, how do you fucking know? You know? That's
Yeah.
And I've struggled with that too. Because like,
Well, we use it on a daily basis. Like just the other day, we were trying to get somebody covered. I'm like, hey, what about so and so? And they're like, well, don't they have something going on this day? I'm like, did we try calling them yet? I'm
Right.
like, it's just something so small. Like, don't doubt yourself, or don't doubt the
Right.
situation, or don't make up factors in your head because
Right.
it's gonna burn out your idea. Go
Right.
lead by your heart, lead by your gut, but don't lead by your chin.
right. And live in the
And-
present and say, okay, this is what I need to try.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell myself that it's not going to happen.
Yep.
I need to try it
And
to
we
know
did-
that it won't happen.
We did a lot of that during COVID. We
Yeah.
had to. Like, there was things like coloring contests. I'm like, let's do this because people are getting bored, and kids, we wanted to find ways to make sure they still came. So
Yeah.
little things like that. Like, let's just try it. Cocktails to go. Like, it's legal now. Let's just try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, and it's hard, but you have to sometimes just take that leap.
Yep.
Yeah. And like you can't judge it basically off like the first thing. You kind of have to like if anyone responds the first time, then you're like, let's maybe try it the next week too. But let's go into the COVID a little bit too, man. I mean, like, how was that for you guys? Obviously nerve wracking.
Oh,
Like,
it sucked, man. You felt alienated at times from everything that was going on in the world. I mean, from anything as small as like for our staff was nervous. I was nervous. We were all like, we didn't know what was going to happen.
you got shut down 2 days before the busiest day of the year.
And you're told that like you're
The day
you're
of.
essential. You're told that you're like, so for something as
The day
basic
before.
as getting vaccines, my staff wanted to get vaccines. We all tried to go, and nothing was available.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is like, here we are, we're essential people. We're told to stay open, still work. But then we're finding out like big companies are buying these vaccines for their staff that are working at home. And then like here we are. Thank God we found a way to like piggyback on their vaccines and like go in blind saying, oh yeah, I work for so-and-so company. I'm here to get my vaccine. But then you lost the whole like romance of industry. Like I didn't open up a restaurant, a bar to be able to just do to-goes and online orders.
Yeah.
I opened up to be able to talk, to be able to sit here and have a shot with somebody. And you lost that. And then it was like a part where it's like, oh, it's only gonna be this amount of time, where it just kept dragging out.
Yeah.
dragging
2
out.
weeks turned into
2 months,
2.5
And then
months.
2 months later, they're like, it's gonna be another 2 months.
Yeah, and there's not a day that you weren't talking to somebody from jumping off.
Yeah.
And I was in that boat too. There was times, I mean, I remember sitting in my parking lot once, like just thinking, I'm like, this is done. And then seeing my bank account. I mean, there was a point where our bank account hit zero pretty
Yeah.
much. And like,
Yeah. It was
Shit.
like I was gonna say, you know, you worked your ass off for 10, 15 years to build this thing
Yeah.
up, and then to almost see it get wiped out in a matter of a couple months.
Yeah. And I had that conversation with my wife, and she's like, she always said like, "Oh, this is my restaurant, Mike's restaurant." I'm like, "No, this is your restaurant too."
Right.
I finally told her during
You're
COVID.
stuck. Yeah.
I told her real quick. I'm like, "You're gonna find out how fast this restaurant's yours when we fail."
Right.
Because if this fails,
you know what fucked me up about COVID too is everybody trying to follow the rules lost business, and the people that didn't try to follow the rules got a ton of business. Maybe we have to cut this, but it was really frustrating to work somewhere where things were enforced that were supposed to be enforced and that nobody was punished for not enforcing those things.
I mean,
it was, but at the same time, so here's how it worked for us, and I understand that frustration.
You guys did great.
We followed everything, but we have so many loyal customers now that appreciate the fact that we cared about
that's true too.
Our staffs. But on top of it, there were so many more grants that we were able to get, pay our staff and just stay open. That other places I've talked to that were like, I couldn't get that because we made too much money. So
fair enough.
It sucked, but at the same time, we're seeing now with the patio opening up that the cards we played and the situations that
it worked out.
Yeah, we kind of were like a sleeping giant.
See, I kind of see it from both ways. Like, obviously, you should hope that everyone's trying to do the smart thing and keep everyone safe. But at the end of the day, if you're 15 years, 2 million in, not sure what the hell's gonna happen. Like you're fighting for survival. So I don't blame anybody just to be like, we need to fucking bring some fucking money in. Like that's just the bottom line. Because especially
and that's how
when that PPE money and everything went,
well,
when all that shit went out though, you either had to have a top-notch accountant, banker on your side, or have to be a huge company. Because a lot of these smaller places that aren't doing $1 million a year, that they're only doing like 400,000, 500,000, 600,000. It's like you were kind of put on that back burner. You like it was still the top.
You had to be ahead too. I was up. So here's the crazy part. Like when the PPP came out and EIDLs and stuff, I was up those nights till like 4 a.m. working on paperwork.
Crazy.
But thankfully, we had people in town that were kind of slipping us like, "Hey, this is what's going to come out.
Yeah.
Here's the application. Fill it out now." And we got in that porter quick.
Yeah.
Wintrust, actually, our local state bank, and Tim Perry at the time, who's now in Florida, he got us. I mean, thank God he helped us get that in because it got cut off like minutes after we put ours in, and we would have not survived without it.
And it is just like that's what I'm saying. Like, so I can't necessarily blame or hate on anyone that broke the rules because
I'm not saying I hate anybody for it. I was just saying
part in it too, though,
there's that little part of me was frustrated by it, but I get where you're coming from too.
But when you're fighting for survival. Yeah, you will kick and scratch and claw.
That's
and
true.
Do whatever
That's
the fuck.
true.
So like, I don't blame
because there's parts where you're like, our rights did get taken away.
Oh yeah,
and it's hard, but
they didn't shut down the landscapers.
Yeah,
they didn't shut down construction.
It just seems like the industry was targeted, but the hang out and get drunk with your friends industry was, unfortunately, I hate to say this, it's more dispensable than the fucking like.
Well, not only that, but it was
like
just like
the dairy industry. You know what I'm saying?
So like even other industries, they didn't get shut down. Like if you were in an office downtown, they weren't like, all right, no one's getting paid, we're closed. They were like, here's a laptop, and go fucking sit in your pajamas for 6 months.
They never shut down public transportation, right?
I feel like
did they?
Oh, a little bit,
they limited it.
Yeah.
They did.
No, they did.
You know, the first round of shutdowns, there was a lot more aid. There was a lot more aid the first round of shutdowns. Like my mom was making like 90% of her paycheck in unemployment, and she cuts hair.
Yeah,
was just like at the bar. Obviously, you can't breathe in someone's face during COVID and like trim their mustache. So they were they were like one of the first businesses mandatorily shut down.
Yeah.
But then like it reopens after a couple months and then it comes raging back and they're forced to close again. Yeah. But there was no aid and no unemployment the second time they closed. That was the big fuck up. Like if you're going to tell people they have to close, even if the city you're in tells you to close, like they got to help you out.
Well, it was like, I remember because we opened up ish like for the summer and the like beginning of the fall. And then I think it was the day after Halloween. They were like, close again.
No, it was Halloween was on a Saturday. I think it was.
We were open we were
really?
open. Yeah, because I remember they let you get that one day because they closed before St. Patrick's Day, and they're like, we can't do that again. So you got to keep. I think it was November 1st was like you had to close.
The confusing part too was everything kept changing. Like how we had to do procedures. Like,
you had to watch the news to find out what the fuck am I supposed to do.
I remember when they first said you had to wear gloves and change them out every single time. Gloves all day. Yeah. We were going through cases and cases of gloves in a day, and I'm like, what?
When they went from gloves to masks, every company was coming in with this yellow spray that kills everything and stuff like that. I was like, I don't fucking know. I was doing like deliveries and working at takeouts and stuff like that. Every night I get done, I just take that yellow shit and just spray my whole body. I was like,
I'll tell you one thing though. The only plus side about it, it took us back to our roots. It made us look at, okay, where can we run the business now that we're open and not having like 5 busboys on, not having all this. We appreciated work, and my staff now works their ass off. And these guys, we were doing everything ourselves, and when you got the same 20 people doing everything yourselves every day, you start to respect it.
And that's a little rare.
Yeah, and it forced us to close Sunday Mondays, which now it's like we look at it, it's like you cut your overhead, you cut your things, everybody gets 2 days off, and why can't the restaurant have a day off? Why can't the restaurant business have a day off? Other countries do it, and it works. And They don't have to be these 7-day-a-week things that we kill each other.
Yeah. There's restaurants, a lot of them that close between lunch and dinner service just to get everything back aligned. A lot of sushi restaurants do it.
I was just going to say a lot of Asian restaurants. I tried to go to Bangkok, Tokyo.
And it's not the craziest idea in the world. It's just never, like you said, until you're forced to think of ways to do things. If you keep going on the same train of thought, you're going to keep doing it that way. But I appreciate that you're finding positives in it and ways to
I don't know. I think like one of the things that changed a lot was like you saw people become creative and get back to the grind, and then other people that were like, I kind of got free money, so now I just don't want to work.
It's not that much free money though. You have to be pretty broke for $1,800 to keep you out of fucking work for weeks and weeks. I
mean, if you're getting $600 for not working, and you can't really go and do anything.
No one who owns a car is in that situation. Like if you're making a car payment, $1,800 is nothing.
Yeah,
it's like gone immediately.
Yeah. Well, you can own a car and not have a car payment.
Yeah,
that's true. But
Mr. Subaru.
No,
I drive a piece of shit old Ford, and it hasn't treated me wrong yet.
I think that
knock on wood.
I should. Yeah,
I personally believe that the sentiment that loan kept people from working is a political view more than it is reality.
The nobody wants to work thing. I agree with you on that.
It made people greedier.
You think people quit jobs that paid decently for $1,800?
I think a lot of people were stuck in the
Some
service
people
industry.
are that stupid, but they didn't have decent jobs anyway.
Exactly.
There were people who didn't want to work in the service industry but got into it and had degrees and then pursued that because who knew if restaurants were ever going to open fully in the same way that they had before. And they left the industry to do what they had initially wanted to do. And also, like a lot of back of house people
couldn't get benefits,
didn't have insurance, and died. Or whatever. So
well, no, I don't. Well, I mean, that did happen, but like a lot
of back of house people, I think, made money in the booming housing industry. Everyone was like moving from apartments to houses, and
if that number's not tied to you and you're in the back of the house, you're not getting that benefit. No. Like you can't claim that unemployment. Right. So they weren't getting any free money. No. And then they had to go to
they moved elsewhere,
landscaping. Construction
or a different state where you can work.
Open.
Construction business.
Isn't that what you did?
Feet, and I was eating sandwiches and shit like that.
Oh, are you still my? You're still my OnlyFans?
Arby's.
I'm gonna put that spicy mustard on that, you son of a bitch.
Kyle Keeley told me I should start an OnlyFans, just me eating messy sandwiches with my shirt off.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I think we did talk about that actually. You'll make a lot of money. It's just not gonna be from the people you want it.
Yeah, I can't show it to my grandma. We can't talk about it at Thanksgiving.
I mean,
but if Thanksgiving's paid for,
you could have filmed me eating that Sheboygan the other day when I was.
That's such a good fucking sandwich. Sauerkraut, mustard.
Here's your first one. Thanksgiving leftover sandwich. Bam.
No cranberries though.
Just be like, thanks, Nana.
There's gravy people and there's cranberry sauce people.
Oh, I'm like,
I'm put gravy on my cranberry sauce, please, sir.
I
sweet and salty.
Really?
Oh, it's so good.
I'm an outlier,
especially on a Sammy.
Yeah, cranberry. Oh man, that's so good.
My lowest priority is stuffing. I still love it. I still love it, but it's my lowest priority on a Thanksgiving plate.
That's the most annoying thing you've ever said, and there's a list. God
First of all,
that
no
was the
way
most
is that
un-American thing
I said, and there's a list. But God damn, stuffing.
I mean, I'll take.
We should have a stuffing
turkey. Obviously, the turkey.
We should call it something else.
Obviously, the turkey. Obviously, the mashed potatoes, the cranberry, and the gravy. Those are all more important than the stuffing.
You're like this. I opened up I was working at a college bar, and we opened up a little pizza kitchen off the side of it. And so we opened up like 3 months later, it's Thanksgiving. I'm out there. We're like, we're going to do an eating contest for Thanksgiving. Cook up shit tons of fucking stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, turkey, all this shit. It's 2 pounds of turkey, a pound of stuffing, handful of mashed potatoes, gravy, pound of turkey, half pound of stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy. And I got like these like 18-inch like skewers that go through it to hold it up like a big fucking volcano. I get like, there's probably 12 people in the bar. This bar holds like 200-300 people. There's probably 12 people in the bar. I get like 6 of them to do this fucking contest. 2 of them are a boyfriend and girlfriend couple that were looking for a place to eat on Thanksgiving night. And I was just like, if you just want to do the contest, I'll give you a big ass plate for free. So like they were just like on opposite ends of this little table, like just eating it like normal, like it was their date night.
Yeah.
But my old roommate, who's like 6'10", 400 pounds, and then another old roommate who's about 6'6", 100 pounds. They end up
100 pounds, 6'6".
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot, in between all these layers, I had Texas toast. There's a big piece of Texas toast.
Well, the skinny roommate won, right?
He does.
Yeah. That
By
he
like
has more room to stretch.
by like seconds. He ends up winning this shit. But what they were doing was like the hot dog, like the Joey Chestnut thing, where they soaked the Texas toast in water. So they both go running for the fucking bathroom to throw up afterwards. I'm like filming them. I'm right behind him. And the big dude fucking pukes up an entire piece of Texas toast.
Unchewed.
Just fucking comes out and like plop and like hit the water. So I'm like running behind him. Like one dude's got a bug, the other guy's like holding it in. I'm like running behind him with my phone, and all of a sudden I just see it come out. I'm like, oh my god, look at that! And it just goes. It's like folded up, and it just goes like, and it's like an entire piece of Texas toast.
Jesus.
That's hilarious.
Go back out there. I'm fucking laughing. Like literally, there's probably 15 people. It's Thanksgiving night, and they're like everyone's watching this happen. We go back around, and that couple is like still just like sitting there, like, oh, this is really good. Like, thanks a lot. Just eating the fucking 8 pounds of whatever the fuck we threw on there. But
Great.
I don't know how the fuck we got to all these parts. All right, we got one more thing before we get going on this. This might be a question. I appreciate you bringing this up, Jay. It might be 5 questions for sure, because John Taffer, fan, no fan, what do you think?
I'm not a fan. Not a fan. The show gives me anxiety.
I was gonna say Bar Rescue. For
He
those who
takes
don't
failing
know.
restaurants and makes them more complicated to run, and then he leaves. So the same people that were failing before without technology now have more technology to figure out, and the same basis of regulars. They have one big night because there are people are on TV. Woo, cool.
He also goes to places and he's like, this place has been open for 40 years and, this place is failing. And then you see like, well, these people work here and it's like they have like customers, and I think you have a standard run-of-the-mill dive bar going on here where nothing's really that fucked. And like,
and then he tells you to
I'm
get
sorry, the driver only, the
they
owner
have to
only
ask
drives
to
a
be on the
Toyota,
show.
but like, it's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's not like
be
he's the cop.
What you need is this automated robot bartender machine.
Yeah, and like one of the cooks sneezes and he goes, "Oh no, that's so bad. I have to go in." Because he's always sitting in an SUV with like 2 people that he claims are celebrities, and then so obviously I've watched the show.
It's also like in the middle of nowhere, or like a weird like little like sleepy seaside town or something, and it's like, dude, it is not going to be packed.
The Dirty Rooster,
or the Deep Lake or whatever it's called, or what do you call that thing?
I have no idea. Like
or
Taffer
the
did one in
Something Rooster,
Antioch?
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the Dirty Rooster. Maybe
Some lake.
Is it still open?
It's a tackle shop now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's right on 173, right? Isn't that on 173?
Yeah.
Right as you go towards.
Wilmot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just always think it's funny. Like he goes into these places, and I think half the time, it's like you were saying, like this place has been open for 40 years. The kid obviously doesn't want to take over for the dad. The dad's fucking been like half retired for 10 years. Like just like, all right, maybe I should have sold this already. If they own the building, it's going to get a shit ton of money.
Yeah, it's like the restaurant's kind of not doing well, but this guy owns a fucking building like on the Jersey Shore or something, and it's like, all right, I mean, I get it. They're not making money hand over fist.
And then the other half of the time, it's like, someplace that's in a shitty location or something like that, in a strip mall somewhere,
Well, the one thing I notice about Taffer that always drives me nuts is every episode he's screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
That's the one guy you'll kick out of your bar.
Oh, my God.
If he was at my bar acting like that, I'd be like, dude, get out.
Well, like, I've said that, I said this to my boss before. Like, they're like, why'd you, like, kick this dude out? I'm like, dude, he started swearing at me. I'm like, no, like, my mom can yell at me like that, and that's about it. Like I've told my boss before, like you can't talk to me like that. Like,
yeah. So I see that, and that's where I get anxiety. He just makes it so if it's dramatized.
Yeah, there is an aspect of like for TV purposes, he has to like embarrass people and yell at them.
And then he always comes out the good guy at the end because after yelling at that guy, he goes. The guy goes, "Hey, I'm sorry you had to yell at me that because I knew I was wrong the whole time." And he goes, "It's okay."
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things.
I'm glad you opened my eyes about the financial struggle,
the psychology part of it, where he's like, "I'm going to bring this family together." Yeah, like these three brothers are arguing, and like, here we go.
Just you're not doing your part. And half-asses that. Oh man, it's like, I'm not a fan.
You're lazy. You're crazy. You're a workaholic. Here's what we need. A robot bartender.
Yeah, right.
Wait, so now that he has his own brands of mixers and all this stuff, can he still like do this? I mean, I don't even know if he still does the show, but like, does he still go on and just like now push his brand of mixers? Like,
I haven't watched it in years.
Like,
that's all he ever did. Anyways, was like everything that he threw in there was like
sponsorship.
Was paying for the show.
Yeah, a lot of bean products.
Did you ever see him attempting to make a Manhattan?
Well, and that's the thing. This guy was a door guy.
Yeah,
like a door guy that became a manager.
Well, he invented the NFL Sunday Ticket, dude.
Not the Sunday Ticket.
He did?
Yes.
Not the Sunday Ticket. It was the Red Zone channel.
Oh, the Red Zone?
I thought it was the Sunday Ticket.
He came up with the Red Zone channel.
Red Zone,
which is pretty good.
I bet you $20 it's the Sunday Ticket.
I think it's the Red Zone channel.
I bet you $20.
He reminds me really.
We can't gamble
like
live on air.
A
but,
Jewish Steven Seagal.
20 high fives.
Would you agree?
A little bit, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. He just is
like Neil Diamond is Jewish Elvis. Yeah, I can see that same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh shit! All right, well, let's get into it. It's time for the 1,
2,
3,
4 questions of this podcast, Mike. Same 4 questions we ask everybody that comes out of this podcast. Question number 1: what do you do on your day off other than coming to Charlie's and hanging out with us?
God, man, I haven't had a day off besides. So my biggest one is lately the last 3 weeks I've gone up to my parents, visit my dad, spend time with him, and then most of the time it's just hanging out with my family, trying to get stuff done around the house.
I was gonna say, like, as an owner of a restaurant, I mean, do you get days off?
I used to, but then now that we have the new addition and stuff, and we're a lot busier, it's just Sunday, Mondays at the moment.
Yeah. We haven't even talked about that. Like that, you got the new patio going and everything like that. I know that's why you've been busy as hell lately.
Yeah. So, but then most of the time, it's like, to be honest, it's like I'm playing video games with my kids, or going comic book shopping, or just watch a big movie buff. Watch movies, so
nice. You excited for Oppenheimer?
I don't know, because don't you have to watch Barbie with it?
No, that's like a thing they're promoting. You don't have to.
Damn,
do that.
well, now I'm not.
But
Barbie
they're saying that's
he was like, that's what I was going for.
Because of like shitty ticket sales, like for movies now, they're saying that might be the new way they do it, is like a chick movie or a kid movie with an adult movie, like something like that.
I think it'll be good.
It's like the driving noise.
I think it'll be good.
Yeah. Shit, I was just gonna ask you something, and I totally forgot it.
Question number 2.
Let's go to question number 2. All right. When you're leaving work and you're heading home, driving in your car or whatever, walking home, whatever you do, are you, a blast the music loud, punching the ceiling guy, or are you a drive home in silent type of guy?
Music loud, windows open.
Yeah.
Nice.
Most people that ride with me know that, and it's random. A lot of times it's either metal or rap music.
Yeah.
Cool. Just like aggressive, keeping that vibe going because you're so wired, or
I don't know if I've lost my hearing from years. I started playing drums when I was 4, so I'm going to music, concerts, stuff like that.
Sure.
But, I love music, and it's always on. It's one of those things. If my wife hates it because she'll hop in the car after I drive it, and it's like, oh my god, and I turn it down. But I just, whenever I'm doing something, if I'm working on something, music has to be on. First time when I get to the bar, I turn the music on anywhere.
Yeah.
So. People always yell at me like, after we kick everybody out, like I'll put music back on. They're like, well, like, what are you doing? I'm like,
I need music at work, no matter what I do.
I've had a few nights where I need the silence after closing here, but usually I throw a couple bucks into the jukebox, and while I'm closing up,
my wife, and I have music for certain things. Like my wife laughs at, like, if I'm doing yard work or like something construction wise around the house, it's country music or rock.
Okay.
Right.
And then if I'm like doing other stuff, it's like punk music, metal, or
sure.
so it mixes up. It depends. Yeah.
Do you feel like depending on the night, like if it's a stressful night, you're listening to like thrash metal, and if it's like a go easy night, you're listening to something chiller?
To be honest, lately I'm driving home with my son, who's a busser now, and then his best friend Jace, and it's pretty much like, hey Dad, put this on. It's whatever they want to listen to.
Right.
But it's a mix. Like lately it's been a lot of like I Prevail, Nothing More on the drive home.
Cool.
That's just what's been on. Or Logic, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Love Logic. Let's go question number 3. Give me one, like the thing you love the most about the business, and then the thing you love least, hate the most about the business.
I think that it's the same thing. People. That's
Yep.
I love people. I love talking to people. I love, especially more than that, like seeing people's enjoyment of what we've been doing, our hard work and labor. But then at the same time, that's the same part of the aspect that I'm like, that like has died for me sometimes, because some of the things that people have done through us during COVID, or the way they've acted, or even like when we're busy, like I'll see them how they treat my staff, and it's just like, come on. It's like, it's not needed. We're all human.
Right.
One thing I've always said is people need to at least work as a nurse, retail business, or in the hospitality business once in their life, because that whole humility, or the whole way of taking care of people and doing stuff for people is lost on some people.
Yeah.
And we had a table the other day in the hallway, and my staff came and got me. And they're like, the second they sat down, she's like, I'm going to bring you waters over real quick. And the guy told the waitress, he goes, actually, you're going to get me a Jack and Coke, and they're going to take this, and then we're going to order, and we want to make sure our food comes out quick. And I was like,
yeah.
So I'm like, what kind of entitlement do you have there?
And
So
that's-
I walk out, I'm like, who are these people? So I walk out, and they look like a mixture of hippies and rednecks. Like, they're almost like carnies in town. I'm like, this is not the people I expected to be this way. But it was just like, you see that side of people, and it's just like, it's not needed. But the good makes up so much more for the bad.
That's what I say all the time, is for every one douchebag, I don't know what the ratio is. There are people that make this fulfilling, and it feels like, they're out to have a good time. They see that you're busy when you're busy.
Yeah.
They recognize that. They don't hold it against you, and they know that you're trying. And
I tell that to my staff sometimes. Like, they get frustrated by somebody at one incident, and it could be a total stranger.
Yep.
Like, don't let that one stranger ruin everything you've done. Yeah, you can be pissed at times. There's things I'll post about people. I'm normally people are like, don't let it bother me. I'm like, it doesn't bother me. I post it so you guys can at least see how people are.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, in the situation, it might be like, this person's an a-hole. But then the day, I'm just like, I'm not going to let that person affect what I'm doing.
Right.
I see the success. I see how my staff's doing. I see the growth in the last 17 years. I see how my family lives. I see how my kids love me. That's what matters.
Right.
That one a-hole that's going to leave a 1-star review because he didn't get the order the way he wanted, or we didn't serve him because he has ID, is not going to affect what I'm going to do 10 years from now.
Right.
Yeah. That's how I am. I'm like, I'm not going to let you affect me, but I am going to start a podcast that I do every Monday and just shit on you.
So
some really like low level spite.
I would say,
what's your motivation for this? Spite.
I would say, like I said, people is the biggest thing, and it's not just customers, it's the staff. And there's not a day. I mean, there's people that have not left on good terms that we've had to fire, but I still love them. They still have a place in my heart.
Sure.
There's still been family. It's just one situation that was not handled the right way, or didn't follow our business plan or objective. So and it's the same thing. Like I said, it's just like, it's the industry we're in. You love and hate it, but you get sucked into it so quick.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And when everybody's working and when everything's firing on all cylinders on a Friday or Saturday night, it feels like, and when everybody that you're working with, we got like the A team, it feels just fucking awesome. Just
that
like
was our Saturday night on the patio.
Yeah.
Slammed. And our sales were just as busy as Saturday before, but the difference was it was all more liquor and food. And these bartenders were working it, and it was hot. It was so humid on Saturday.
Right.
So,
it was.
I mean, my legs were just sweating standing there. And I had 2 people from the bar come up to me like, hey, can I talk to you real quick about your staff? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And she's like, they're killing it. Your staff is working their butts off. I'm like, I know. And they thank me for it. So
cool.
you never know how that conversation is going to start when they pull you aside. But
God. Yeah.
And I told those guys, I'm like, and I even texted them the next day. I mean, the text message is right here. I said, that you guys crushed it. And I told them it was on my mind the whole morning, that I wanted to let them know. Oh, here it is. I go, been on my mind all morning. And I said, you guys fucking crushed it last night. Proud of all 4 of you. It was a crazy bar crowd, and you guys handled it better than anyone I've seen.
Sweet.
Thank you. So,
and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's awesome for like, it's a lot of owners in restaurants are good, but like you've been through it, and so you like telling them that, like that, just the
I don't think
respect
it's-
there.
I think a lot of owners see that and want to tell them, but at the same time, people got to understand too. It's like my day starts at 7, 8 in the morning. Even if it's not at the bar, I'm doing something that's work related.
Yeah,
And it could be going to the bank or something, or going to
sure.
the store. And it ends, but it also keeps going. So there's so much on your mind that you don't think about it. To express it.
Yeah.
fair
But
enough.
I try to as much as possible.
It's
Well,
nice
it's
to keep
also-
it on your mind, though. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying good for you. Like, I mean, your staff is.
It's also hard. Like you're kind of like, you guys did your job. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, no,
like you're
it's
supposed
like,
to do this.
At the same
like,
time, like it's my day off on Sunday. So
Yeah.
I'm like, do I text them? I'm like, yeah, I still want to at least let them know. But
Yeah.
it's crazy to see how these guys work, and then how other people. It's better to see the people that actually appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
I always appreciate that because, like as a manager on it, it makes my job easier. You know what I mean? Like when I got a crew that's running it smooth, like a well-oiled machine, then my job, I'm not running over here and dealing with it. Like I can pay attention to like something that I might not have noticed for the last month. You know, like got to look at like what's going on with this.
Yeah, that's my
situation.
thing with managing. I'm like, I can do all this stuff. Like your job is literally to like free me up to do manager stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
I don't know. I've been taking a section lately while managing, and I fucking love that so fucking much.
Nice.
We've had employees that we've hired from other places because we had to hire 25 employees. We went from 20 to 45 employees. And 2 of the new employees, I'm helping them take tables, and like, hey, I just closed them out. I took 2 orders at this table. Their dinner orders in. The girl's like, thank you for doing that. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, you didn't have to do that. I'm like, no, it's my business.
Yeah.
You're in the weeds.
Yeah.
I'm helping you. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
if I got to wash dishes, I'm going to wash dishes.
Yeah.
And it's still this day when people are like, oh, the owner's washing dishes. I'm like, yeah, what else am I going to be doing right now? I can't.
if we can't plate something, I'm losing money.
Yeah, and I hate when I go to bars, and the's even local places where I see the owner just sitting at the bar or sitting at another bar. And I'm like, dude, this is your busy hour. You should
And
be
they're
helping.
slammed. Yeah.
So I told this girl, I'm like, no, this is how I run my business. She's like, well, it doesn't work that way at other places. I'm like, well, there's a reason why I started this in my 20s,
Right.
and I'm still here.
Right. Yeah,
I care
absolutely.
about it. My baby.
I always used to clean the shitters. I was like, I clean the shitters. Now that's done, and
See, I always tell people
nothing.
I'm willing
Nothing
to do
for you to
everything.
complain about doing. I clean the shitters. Like you know.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do
yeah,
everything
yeah.
except clean the shit.
I started thinking you're a plumber. Are you a plumber? a lot of.
No,
toilet-
I
a lot of
do.
toilet
I do
stories
lay a
in
lot of
here.
pipe.
He just likes fecal porn.
I do lay a lot of pipe, but no, not the plumbers.
Start calling you Mario.
Heard you got some empty pipes over here.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to question number 4. My favorite question. What's the best advice you could give to a customer or a person listening to this to make them a better customer, to make their experience more enjoyable?
Man, be patient more than ever right now. Be patient because there's so many places that are dealing with. I'm thankful that we're staffed up, but there's days when people are calling in sick that my guys are at doubles and working their butts off. But there's a lot of places that aren't staffed up right now that are losing help. Like, be patient. I'm like, there's a reason you're going out, and it's not just you're going out to celebrate, but the reason is you don't want to cook at home. You don't want to do something at home. But at the same time, this industry is short. It's very short. And it's not just what you see in front of you. It could be everything in the back. You don't realize what the person taking care of you, whether in front or back, they could be on their second double of the week or third double of the row. And there's just a lot of stuff going on. So, I mean, the biggest thing right now is just be patient. And it's the same thing I tell my staff, like, be patient with the customers too, because it's people I feel like are still going through hell.
That's true.
It's going to be crazy.
I know, like that brought me back to like your thing earlier, like it's empathy and entitlement that I'm seeing right now. Like it's a lack of empathy and an abundance of entitlement.
Yeah.
Like people are just expecting, demanding things and not understanding like, hey, this isn't available because of supply chain, or we don't have this many people working here and we're running around doing that,
And then the other biggest thing, and you guys, I don't know if you agree or don't ask somebody, your server or bartender, what their favorite thing on the menu is, because what I like, you most likely,
I like that
in
you said that.
17 years, I probably found at least 2 people that agree with what I like. So if you're going to ask me, I'm going to tell you and name 4 things off, and you're like, I don't like that. then don't ask.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Maybe ask
like,
what's good.
what's
or
your
be like,
recommendation? I'm like, the cheeseburger. They're like,
oh yeah. If somebody said
You're
I was thinking a
recommendation,
salad.
I'm gonna give you the
Okay.
highest item on there.
Yeah.
But
what do you recommend? Market price lobster and steak
Exactly.
dinner.
at least go. Well, at least
And
go,
add the egg and avocado and
At least
bacon.
Go in there with a vision. Go in there. The reason why you're there, like if you're a whiskey drinker, be like, hey man, so I drink these whiskeys. Do you recommend something else different? If you're an IPA drinker, hey, I drink IPAs. What do you recommend? Don't go in there and be like, what kind of beer should I order? I'm like, I got 20 beers. Or if you're looking for a burger or something like, or if you eat steaks, be like, hey, I normally eat steaks. At least have like an idea in your head what you're looking for.
Yeah. I love when you get someone like, how's the turkey club?
You're like dog shit.
It's a fucking turkey club, bro.
I had a lady,
Like,
I had a lady
like,
the other day. She was with my mother-in-law, and she goes, "How's this on the menu?" I'm like, "It's on the menu, isn't it?"
you're right. Like,
And she goes, "You must be the owner." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "If it's on the menu, that most likely means it's made it."
thought
to
it,
the last
thought it
five
sucked, but I
drinks.
figured maybe somebody likes
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Anything
I'm
that
not
goes
gonna
on our
shit on my own
we
menu.
enjoy.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna put something on my menu if I don't enjoy it.
yeah.
I will say, very generically speaking, I like small menus because they're just there's
You don't
something
get
about
lost.
some places like the first time I went to the Cheesecake Factory, I
Oh
opened
my
this
God.
fucking
They
thing.
had
I
to do
was
the
like,
Bible of food.
what the fuck
Did you buy a
is
Rolex
this, dude?
afterwards too?
I
All
was
the
like,
ads?
what the fuck is this? I'm like,
That's-
you're lucky we have a gift card.
That's one restaurant that irritated the hell out of me when COVID hit because not only did they close down everything and pretty much not pay a lot of their
Yeah.
staff and stuff, they weren't paying their rent to their landlords.
Oh yeah, they were
But
straight like.
they still
what are
got
you gonna do?
everything and they're still thriving. It's
Yeah.
just like, man, you guys just went full gangster on everybody.
They straight the landlord thing was huge for them because they were
Yeah.
just like, no, we're not paying
and
shit.
so many people are like, just do that. I'm like, I can't. I am the landlord.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta pay rent.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was one thing too. Like when landlords were like going at people, I was like, all right, like we're going through this. You're gonna kick this person and their business out of here. Do you think there's gonna be anybody behind them to get in there?
Yeah.
Right.
No, like no one's gonna start a business in the first year after COVID. Like like, and if you get them in there, like the price has to be low enough because everywhere is fucking available for rent now. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that pissed me off. I knew a couple people that lost their business over the rent, and I was
And
just
that
like,
could have been stable before, or that could have been a building situation
before
beforehand,
if
too.
they had some back rent.
And
yeah.
now the landlord's find like, ooh, I found a way to get rid of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And that sucks. But most landlords, if you saw the business as it wasn't gonna, you weren't gonna let go who you had. It's just like I had renters on my properties. I'm like, I'm not gonna lose my renter, right? Can't afford that.
Right.
They can't make it. We'll just stretch it out.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, that is the end of the 1,
2,
3.
4 questions.
part of this podcast, which brings us to the best part of this show. Michael Pruitt, thanks again for coming on, man. I know you're busy as hell right now, and you got a bunch of stuff going on. You just got the patio open. Your restaurant's always busy as it is, and then you got your beer and bourbon fest coming up. That we are very excited that are we doing it?
I'm down.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I'll get you guys a table there.
And if we're smart enough to figure out how to do a fucking live show, maybe we'll do that.
Or we can hire Devin
you.
for the night. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh, well, yeah, we got a guy right here who can do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Which is one thing I admired a lot about, like when we were doing business a little while back, I was always picking your brain and stuff, which, thank you very much. Like you were always open and honest and telling me what's up.
Yeah.
But you like always kind of seemed how to figure out how to do stuff on your own. Like you didn't have to pay people to do it, which
Yeah.
I was like very resourceful, especially as an entrepreneur like you are.
just anything right now, these kids have a plethora of things available to them.
Yeah.
Between YouTube and just different avenues to where you can actually like look stuff up and figure things out, especially with AI now.
Yeah.
So if there's something like, oh man, I got to figure this out, I can't do it. I'm going to look for it first before I spend money to do it. Because most likely the person I'm paying to do it, doing the same thing I'm doing.
Right.
They've just been doing it a lot longer.
We need to find like a 15-year-old kid who wants to work for $100 a week and do our social media
And get them hammered. No, I'm just kidding.
But it's one of those. It's always been like that though. When I was in high school and bands and stuff, and had our own website, doing things, trying to find ways, or even downloading music on Napster, you found
Yeah.
ways to do it.
Yeah.
That's how our generation was. You had to figure out ways to do it.
Yeah.
Doing LAN parties with our buddies playing Halo, you had to figure
Yeah.
out how do I hook up 4 TVs with 16 of us playing a video game.
Yeah.
Right.
You had to figure out ways to do things,
Mhm.
and it's just for business form. So,
Right.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I'm the same way with I talked about this with a buddy. It's like there's been so many other business owners, and especially restaurant business owners, that have helped that. Like, I remember when Chris Schoenberger was opening up Barbecue Productions, he needed help with stuff. I'm like, hey, this is how I do it. When Josh was thinking about opening up Black Lung, and he's like, what do you think about this? I always have friends I'm texting with, or people, acquaintances and colleagues in the business, where we text things off together.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what do you think about this? And I do the same thing sometimes. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Is this stupid or what? Because you might have one way of looking at things, somebody else might have. But if you're staring through the same glass or the same mirror every day, you're going to see the same image.
Yeah. And you're going to see a lot of things where it's like, I'm going to take half of my idea and half of what you said and put it together and make this great idea that everyone's going to go and like kind of look at. But that's what's great about this industry. You know, like people always ask about like competition. There really isn't. I mean, like you will find instances or whatever where people don't like each other or whatever. But like as
friendly,
it's a community. Like
it's the same thing, even more on the aspects of our business, like beer, for instance. With all the breweries that have opened up, especially in Illinois, I think they all hate each other. But no, it's the opposite.
Yeah,
you're not going to eat out of the same fridge every day. You're not going to drink the same thing every day. So you have to be this close family. And the ones that don't want to be part of that family, that don't want to join in,
are the ones that get
how they do.
Yeah, right. And I mean, it's just like if you're a block away from me and you're doing good, I've just never been of the mindset that that's bad for me. I'm always like, if you're bringing people over here, that gives me an opportunity to show my shit in front of that many people.
Exactly.
And it's like you said, you're not going to eat the same shit every day. So it's like the one time you go over, then also
it makes like your neighborhood a destination.
Exactly, like a strip. Like you always want to be. You always want to be on a strip.
Small business owners, especially in our business, they always fear competition. The biggest competition is, it sounds corny at times, is yourself.
Yeah.
And you got to sometimes take back.
Totally.
Times when I do, I'm like, shoot, why are we doing it this way? Or how can we change this up?
Right.
We've done that. I mean, you don't need a full revamp. There's a reason why you opened what you did. You don't need to be like one day be like,
keep your staples.
Be a sushi restaurant. I've seen places do that where they started serving sushi, and it's like, why? You're not a sushi restaurant. There should be no reason to do stuff like that. But it's just like, when it comes down to, and half of the battle is quality and service, and you get so relaxed in things. It's just like, even outside the business, at home, you get relaxed in things to where you're like, oh man, I'm neglecting this. And once again, COVID kind of gave us a step back, looked at like, whoa, we neglected some of the ways we do things.
Instead of just playing catch up every night, you kind of had the time to take a step back and see the whole, what do you call it when you collage for what it is? Yeah. All right, well, let's get into it. So what is the craziest thing? I mean, you've been in this business for how many years? Started at 14, you said?
26 years.
26 years?
Yeah.
What's the craziest, most unique, whatever thing that you've been subjugated to, that you've experienced, that you've seen in this business?
Like craziest, like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened.
I would say that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say probably the scariest situation I've ever seen in my life. I went home for lunch. God, this was probably years ago. I went home for lunch, came back, and I opened the kitchen door to say, "Hey guys, I'm back." And one of the cooks had one of the Hispanic cooks had a knife to one of the younger guys, like chest. And I just looked at both of them, and they didn't hear me at first. I'm like, I hope I'm not seeing what's going on. He dropped the knife. He got upset. The kid got upset.
Like he was like in a threatening manner. Like
yeah. And the kid told me what he said to him, and I said, first off, I'm like, learning experience for both of us. Nobody got hurt. You should have said what you said to him.
Yeah.
And I go, there's a reason.
Do you mind sharing what he said?
Yeah. I can't remember. Right. I just remember, like I said, that always stuck with me. Like, what happens if I wasn't there? What happens if I was 5 minutes late? 3 minutes late. But it was just a situation. But thank God I got diffused. That everybody learned from it. Both people learned from it. But it was a scary situation. Probably the craziest things I've gone through some crazy things in this industry. Especially back in the day, breaking up fights, bars, and I've seen a lot of crazy things, but that was probably the one, like me, where it was like, oh shoot, it's me and two people, and there's a weapon. And
And was there like a
kitchen knife, full chef,
like a younger kid with an older guy, like
younger kid, he's still around this area.
Older guy, like holding on.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at. Older, like I said.
How'd you diffuse it? Like you walked in and what'd you say?
I said, let's stop. And I hope I'm not seeing what I see. And he dropped the knife. Yeah. He walked past me. I talked to the first party, talked to the second party, figured out what was going on. It was something stupid. in
But
our industry.
dude said something.
Just said something and went after the guy about his family and him and his personality. Not know him. It's like back in the day as a kid, your mama joke.
Man.
But when you got a 40-year-old Hispanic gentleman who barely speaks
Yeah.
English and a kid,
Yeah.
and a kid whose family is actually attached in this town, it can get very rough quick. Like
Yeah,
I said, I got lucky, but
Was it Brendan?
no, it wasn't Brendan. He would have been sleeping still at this time. But
Holy shit. Yeah, no, that's, I mean, you obviously got to break up like fights every here and again. But like, that's one thing I've always been scared about was in the kitchen. Cause it's like, you literally, not only are you like, it's just burners over here, fryer over here, this
it's
over
close
here.
quarters.
Yeah. And then you have knives in the middle of it too.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a liability nightmare, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just if people lose their temper back there, and that's why it's so cool when kitchens work together for just a bunch of aggressive people.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
The cohesion's great, but yeah, it could go awry at any point,
yeah.
in any night.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a couple in the kitchen that, like you get nervous, especially like what you're saying. Have I told this story where the kid got the knife in his arm? Yeah.
Like somebody threw it at him?
Yeah.
Oh, so you took my story and just gravitated it.
So I had.
So basically it was cooler than that.
No, I was in a kitchen where it was like, half like Mexican guys and then like half off the boat Italian guys. And they were getting into it. And one of the Italian guys just took like a little paring knife and
Wow.
it stuck in a dude's arm. And like this dude's brother, who was like a busboy there, was like a very serious, like, dude, you don't like hanging with a bunch of people you don't want to mess with, like type of guy. And it turned into a whole fucking thing. Like where like people were like, you're gonna get killed. Like you gotta watch it. And like I just had to take everybody out and be like, man, like what the fuck? And I take the Italian guy. I'm like, why'd you throw the knife at him? He's like, how many times you take a knife and you throw it against the wall and it just hits the fucking wall and drops to the ground? He's like, I didn't know I was gonna get the guy. like, oh no, you got him. Like it was like plumbing his arm.
Man.
But holy shit. All right, well, what's the grossest thing you ever seen?
The grossest thing, oh man, I would still say probably my first day bussing tables. I think we talked about this where I was bussing tables and somebody's got to clean up puke at a table. And I went over there and they filled up a whole like 1.5 inch, 2 inch deep can full of kids' vomit. I had to carry it back. Like I on a different podcast, I was like, it was like carrying back a bomb.
Oh, Jesus.
Back of the kitchen, like can't let this thing tilt. And I was like, that had to me like personally because it was just me in that tray the whole time. And it's like a long walk.
Yeah,
just face to face with it.
Yeah, that's why it was probably the grossest thing. Like normally in our industry, when gross things happen, you got like 3 other people there helping you. Especially now when you're like in charge, it's easier to be like, okay, just help me clean this up real quick. But when you're a busser at 14 and that's just you and that plate.
Yeah. I was gonna say, did you ever like think on that walk back to the kitchen with that plate, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, is this really what I want to do with the rest of my life?
God, man, I joke around. I'm like, probably. I don't even remember it. I think it was more like I was so nervous, like my first time working. It's like I can't drop this. Like maybe this is like normal. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
No, that it like I always talk to people. I'm kind of curious to see if you have this feeling too. Like I feel like I have this like need to like please and like be approved, and that's kind of what I figure like how I'm in this industry is like I want to make everyone happy with me. Like I'll work extra hard to get that approval and stuff like that. You ever feel that going on? Like,
oh yeah. No, I mean I always have that mindset of like I could be doing better.
Right.
And I don't know if that's that fat kid mindset of always growing up, like always trying to fit in or do stuff, whether it's through comedy or trying your hardest in sports.
I feel that, yeah.
I don't know if you guys notice, I am a chubby kid now, but I used to be a fat kid.
Yeah.
Fat kid.
I am a fat kid who has always been a fat kid.
But it's like one of those things where you get stuck in this area where you find your staff and your team that cares about you, and then that's why you want to take care of it.
Right.
And that's like one of the things we've always focused on is putting our staff first. And you can't always do it, but it could be a little thing as like buying the whole group lunch at the shift or throwing our Christmas parties or doing something. We just, like I said, it's one of those things like I built the bar. So yeah, obviously I have a business and keep my family and everything in a better type of living, but at the same time I built it to where I know I would have these group of people that I would work with and have fun with and become family, because you do spend more time with your employees or with your staff than you do your own family.
Yeah. And it's weird how that ends up happening.
When it comes to customers, I always try to find a way to fit in, but you also have to be careful how much you've been do for others to where you don't feel like they have the same appreciation back to you.
Right.
And there are people in this industry at the customer end, or even that you do business or work with you, that will try to take advantage of you. It's the quickest industry to do it. That's why they're so quick to throw a small business under the bus. Then there'll be that same person that goes to Wendy's, and Wendy's might forget half their order, but they're still going to go there, and they're not going to complain and throw them under the bus online.
Or even when they do, you're like, well, you went to fucking Wendy's.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's where it's hard, but there's so many times where you get stuck where you feel like you got to go do everything for that person when they might not come back. And they'll even tell you, like, I'm never coming back here again. I was like, well, can you at least try one more time? Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to find out where to shut that off.
See, I always like when people are like, I'm never coming back here. And I'm like, please don't.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I've had those times.
I would.
I had a lady once. I had a lady once who insulted me, and I finally said, "Don't come." She's like, "We're never come back." And she's like, "I'm gonna tell my friends." I'm like, "Cool." I'm like, "I'm telling you not to come back. And please,
if they like you, they're not welcome here.
If they're just like you, I don't want them here." And exactly, and that's exactly what I said to her. And she's like, "She goes, I never had anybody talk to me like this." I'm like, "Well, they should." But it happens. I mean, sometimes you have to fire your customer.
Yeah.
That
is a great.
It's only happened.
Sometimes you have to fire your customer.
But it's only happened probably less than a handful of times in 17 years. So I'm blessed for that. But there are people that are out there, I mean, that aren't there to appreciate the business and appreciate your staff and appreciate the other customers. I've had people we've had to get rid of that treated other customers poorly. We have a safe establishment. If you're going to come in here and treat a woman poorly or treat another table poorly, guess what? It's like, I'm sorry, you're not welcomed here.
You're going to cuss at some girl from high school that's hosting for me? Get the fuck out of here. Like,
yep.
All right, one more thing before we finish up. What is something that you see when you go out to a bar or to a restaurant or something that bugs you as someone who like owns a place? Like you know what I mean? Like when someone's like sitting there on their phone or something like that. Like what grinds your gears?
That doesn't really bother me that much. Because I understand they have to have a release. Their phones are there. You never know what they're dealing with as an employee. The thing that bugs me the most is when I can see a whole restaurant, not one table's bust.
Yeah.
And I've had that happen where me and my dad have gone somewhere and not one and they're literally like, okay, we're going to bust a table real quick so you can sit. And then I'm like, oh, why the hell did I come in here?
Right.
That drives me nuts. And it drives me nuts when I see other owners when their staff's in the weeds and they're sitting at a bar having a drink. And it's just like,
yeah.
It's like if you can't appreciate the people working for you.
Right.
And I've seen it. I mean, you see it a lot in small mom and pop places up north in Wisconsin. And it's just like, this is your business. They're not slaves.
A lot of people just think it's cool to have the Godfather chair and sit there, you know.
Team. Yeah. Like if you see me sit in a chair, that means our shift's done. And I might be done through 10 or 12 hours. I mean, there might be times where I might talk to somebody, like sit down at a bar and say, hey, how's it going and stuff. But I'm not going to wait. Half the time I won't really eat until the shift's over. I just don't feel comfortable.
That's one thing that bugs me now too, is everyone thinks they deserve a fucking like meal break. I'm like, you realize we used to just sit on a fucking like a tipped over garbage can with a piece of bread and a piece of meat.
But I
just
see that. I think meal breaks are important. I agree with it. You gotta pick the appropriate time for it.
That's what I mean. Like you can't be 7:30 on a Friday. Like
I'm a personal believer in it because I feel like, hey, if somebody's gonna take an hour or 2 hour break and they're on a double, they're gonna work a lot harder. I'd rather that, and plus, like, especially now with the patio being hot, I don't want them passing out. I'd rather make sure you're eating. That's the first thing I ask my staff. I'm like, if you haven't, I'll tell them, like, if you haven't eaten, I'll go get you something. What do you want? I mean, it helps. It definitely helps.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little jaded on that one because that was literally like my life. Like that, the picture of like on the milk crate, like with like a half a brat and some
but
bread.
That sucked, right?
Oh, it's fucking terrible.
But that's
so
what
it sucked.
we went through. But why should our struggles be the norm for what people have to deal with?
You can make it better. You can
think about half the stuff they did in 1920.
All right, you make a very good point. But again, how we started this podcast, I do a lot of things based out of spite.
Yeah, that's fair. So. No, but I totally get that feeling too. Like and like seeing some busboy who's been there for 45 minutes ask if he can go order a cheeseburger. I'm like, dude, no.
That's different.
Dude,
though.
that's different.
Right.
Different.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's when I get frustrated with it.
early.
4 hours, way different than 45
Yes.
minutes.
Yes.
And that's where I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's a different, and I do the same thing with my son. My son will pull that card.
Yeah.
And he doesn't anymore, but he'll shop up. I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm like, you just got here. He's like, why didn't you eat? Why didn't
Right.
you eat before you got? You knew we were coming to work.
Or why didn't you get here early and order and then clock in?
He's learned since. And halftime I'll get
And they're
him,
teachable
like,
moments,
if you're hungry,
right?
Here's a protein bar. Like, well, I'm like, eat the protein bar if you're
There's,
hungry.
Right.
there's the one also like a 6-hour shift. Like technically, I don't even need to give you a break. Like
Yeah.
Like but you know what I mean? Like I get it. If you're working a double, like by all means, you know, like
But a 6-hour shift in our industry compared to other industries
is a lot different.
Way different.
Yeah. The grind on your body and everything.
Way different
but-
industry. People in our industry are amazing, and some of them are hard. I mean, there are some that are hard workers, but some of them are the hardest workers you'll see.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we went a little longer than we thought we were going to go on that last part. Mike, thanks very much for coming on.
Yeah, no.
Again, Michael Pruitt from The Vine, owner, operator, entrepreneur. You guys got the new patio open, right? You're still closed Sunday, Mondays, but you're going to open Sundays for football.
Yep.
Stay closed on Mondays during the fall.
Yeah, we're gonna stay closed on Mondays, unless it's like for like a beer dinner or a wine dinner or like a tequila dinner, or
special
something.
event. Yeah. And then you got this will come out before that, but you got the Beer and Bourbon Fest, Cigar Fest coming September.
That's September 2nd.
September 2nd.
BFest.com.
Is that Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday or Saturday. You almost threw me
Cool.
for a curveball.
Yeah, no worries. And then what time of day is that going to be at?
That is from 6 to 10.
6 to 10. BNB.com.
BNBfest.com.
BNBfest.com.
B, the letter
We
N,
will,
B, yeah.
Before we put this out, we'll record a little thing again and put it out, you know, officially. Hit us up at 4shotspodcast@gmail.com if you got the story that everyone needs to hear about the service industry. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube. Patrick's got a fucking pee. I can see the tiny tank dancing over there. We're wrapping it up, baby. We're wrapping it up. 4 shots code to get, you know, something at fucking Beer Fest or whatever. Anybody else? We got everybody good?
We should give a shout out to I got like 15 people, Pat. Hold on.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Your
Something
buddy Dane from high school who said he listens
Dane.
to every episode.
Dane Bildston.
Yep.
Tony Milazzo over at Phase 3. What's up?
Yep. What else? We got, what was our Uber driver's name last week?
Ricky Tiki Tan.
Yeah. Maybe we'll cut that.
Ilkan Chang or something like that.
Whatever your name is, Mr. Uber driver, thank you for driving us to Racine on your last ride of the day. I know that sucked. You were wonderful. Thanks for subscribing.
Like, where are you going? He's like, this is my last ride. We're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he was like, yeah, this always
He's
happens.
like, no, I was trying to go home. We're like, oh, well, it's just Racine.
I was trying
He's
to
like,
convince
oh, and I live south of here.
I was trying to
Awesome.
convince him to stay up in Wisconsin and then drive us back. And he's like, no, this is my last one. I'm like, oh, shit, dude. Sorry.
We figured it out.
And he
Should you
subscribed.
know with that Gmail,
He
you
did.
guys send out your 4shots@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Whoever emails in as a mystery guest for the Bourbon Fest, if they're going to be there, we'll give them a
Oh,
ticket.
we got a couple of them. Yeah,
Ooh.
let's
Give 'em a
let's go.
ticket. So, I mean, if we're there from 6 to 10, let's wait till like 8 o'clock, put a mystery
What
guest
about
on.
the first email that references the Beer and Bourbon Fest is the mystery guest?
Any email that comes with that, and we'll probably even record a little something next week and put that out and on
But they
everything
gotta
that
be
we're putting out
obligated
into
to
that.
hang out with you guys and
Yeah.
Review
There is
how
a
You
their-
should
caveat.
be
review
so
how
lucky.
Review how their festival night's going.
I was gonna say, can you do 20 shots of bourbon?
Nah,
Because we can.
Yes.
All right, and that is the end of the 1,
2,
3.
4
Shots
shots podcast. Cheers, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being
dude.
on, Mike.
That
I
was a
appreciate
great
you,
one.
man.
Fucking Malort. No one threw up.
Yet.
Yet.
Yep. Wait.
You're good. You're good. Think about the desert.
You're good, but maybe approach a receptacle just in case.